lay over the map of where is SNAP benefits in the state of Illinois, it's Chicago.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
That's what. So where are all these people? I think they're just gonna be in like city parks, just jugging them, like it's just cutting jugulars.
Maybe that's what they want.
Maybe that's it. Maybe to kill all the urban deer. Gangs going after deer in like city parks could be a thing.
Interesting. What if they said this tag is limited to?
Yeah,
what if they
like
said
a reality TV show.
Yeah.
What if they said this tag is limited to its city limits and it's limited to hands-only equipment? No projectiles.
I would watch that in a heartbeat.
The HUNTR Podcast is brought to you by Predator Camo.
Man, this one feels good, right? I know people have been looking at this picture over your shoulder for a while now. I think that was 2018, but we just, over the last, how many years, keep coming back to Predator Camo because it's been so damn good for us.
No doubt. I think we bought our first set off of Jen at the Archer Trade Show almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And Jen's still with the company, and the patterns have only improved since then. They actually were recently acquired within the past couple of years. We've had a chance this past year to go and meet with new ownership, talk about redesigning a lot of the old lines, plans for new patterns, all of the above. So really excited about what's to come, not only this coming year, but in years to come. There's a lot of good stuff coming from Predator.
Yeah, and I mean, for us, it's always been going back to that breakup pattern, right? That's the historic look, whether you're talking about the spring greens or brown deceptions or fall grays.
Yeah.
I mean, that breakup is really what's been so powerful for us in a tree stand. And right now, they're letting anyone use the code HUNTR on the Predator Camo website and get 20% off any of the lines, including all the new stuff that dropped here in July.
Be the Predator.
And we're back.
Ew.
HUNTR Podcast, episode 305. 305.
305, baby.
305. It is February 5th.
Yep. Acclimating. Yeah. Dial it in here.
Dialing it in.
That it is. We did our farm companion this morning. So, hey, before we get ripping on this one, I will thank you guys for being here. Whether you're listening on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts, those are the three main platforms that we drop these episodes on, and we do that every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Appreciate you guys following along with us for all these years now. It's pretty cool. You can like, follow, or subscribe to like any one of those channels, and something will you can set like a notification bell as to when these drops. But that's when we do it. So if you've written us on Instagram DM or the website, those are the two that we check the most frequently. I know I've got some emails starred in there, that at some point here, we do diligently try to get back to each and every one of those if we can. We have some HUNTR merch on the website. A lot of you guys have bought some of that stuff in the past. Appreciate you supporting us in that way. Mm-hmm. We will be working on some new stuff there, I think, for this coming year, along with potentially, Jeremy, website renovation at some point.
Close.
Someday?
Yeah, someday.
In the meantime, you can use code HUNTR, HUNTR, on any of our partners' websites for a discount in some way, shape, or form. And other than that, here we go. February, like we said, just trying to still kind of in the cold, snowy. Just 10 and 2.
Mindset.
Trying to keep it between the.
Just keep it between the mustard and the mayonnaise as you're driving down the road.
That's right.
That's the way it goes. But yeah, so I think we've kind of focused, or at least turned our focus here to a lot more of the farm projects and stuff. Obviously, wrapping up the season. Yeah, just
hard left turn. Here.
Hard left turn. Yeah, that's it. I'm going left. Yeah, and so I think that's where we're at. So we got Adam Keith from Land and Legacy here to join us this morning, and figured it'd be a great time to dive into just projects and thinking about kind of here at the intersection of end of season, beginning of new season. Where to even start? What's the mindset? I mean, we all probably have some certain goals in mind, and maybe even some carryovers from last year that didn't get done. Yeah. So where do we go from here, type of thing? I think it's just a gut check too. Like, I think you and I feel pretty competent from like a strategy, like layout kind of a standpoint, but there's so much that we don't know when it comes to actual, like, logistically, how, like, what is the best way to execute some of these, like, whether it's invasive management or timber management or any or all of the above. Like, there is a right way and a wrong way to do things, or a way at least to make it like flow seamlessly, rather than just have to go through the whole learning curve yourself. And I think Adam's been on a lot of properties and executed a lot of those projects, and we've had him on at least once before, so it's fun to be able to gut check and actually get the right way to do some of these things, like, out on the table. Oh, absolutely. And I think that's the big part. Like, yeah, I would say even a lot of our listeners are pretty comfortable with the plan that they might be thinking about executing. But to your point about like the gut check or the reaffirmation, to hear somebody else, essentially say the same thing you're thinking goes a long way, right? Because
100%. That's all I'm looking for in life. It's just affirmation that my plan is a decent one.
Yeah.
You like?
Yeah.
Okay.
You take that deal?
We do?
Yeah.
Damn good deal.
Yeah. So I think that's really what it comes down to is like the hope of a lot of the podcasts in the off season, and in particular this one with Adam is, maybe you hear some stuff that you're already kind of rolling around in the back of your head with, and it's reaffirmation of like, hey, that's the right move. Go for it. So let's bring him in. Adam Keith, everyone.
Hey guys, welcome.
Dude, I don't know.
No, you welcome.
I don't know what.
All right. Yeah.
I don't know what camera you're running, but it is sharp, man. You look clear.
We kind of upgraded from the old MacBook normal one. So.
Holy cow.
That's good.
If you guys don't remember, the last time I was on, I had horrible fits with the internet.
I think I do remember that.
And I was in the middle of a house build, living in a rental, terrible internet. And now I'm in my house, great internet with Starlink. And so I'm like, we started recording our podcast.
Yep.
And so there you go.
That's awesome, man. Did you guys build a place or buy?
We built.
Yeah. And where are you at?
On my family farm.
Which is where again? Remind me. Missouri?
Southern Missouri.
That's right.
Yeah. The Ozark Mountains.
That's right.
How big is that family farm?
So the family farm that I grew up on was 275.
Mm-hmm.
Then my brother and I bought some acreage that was the western border, and now we own and manage about 900. Total.
Wow, man!
Wow, dude, that's a big farm.
So, yeah.
So
I'm very blessed.
Yeah, dude.
It happened in a time that I was in no shape to buy ground, but I utilized first-time farmer loan.
Yep.
Because I have an ag background, so filling out the application and running with a cattle plan.
Mm-hmm.
I met the criteria and they approved it. So
interesting.
Insane loan as far as in comparison with the interest rates.
I was gonna say interest rate and down payment, right? Like you've got big benefits on both sides.
He actually waived my down payment.
Wow.
So I didn't have anything down. He told me to go buy cows. So
wow.
Pretty incredible. I mean,
like I need to start farming.
Say what?
It looks like I need to start farming.
Yeah. It was kind of what I can't explain it because I had no money at the time. Our business was just launching, and I mean, it's God's timing, God's will, because it's just like doors open that I never thought in a million years I'd get approved to buy it, and so we did.
Yeah.
Wow.
Actually, and then a few years later, another part of that story, 64 acres of the original Keith homestead from the 1800s, we bought it back. So we kind of have the hub of what my great granddad moved to in the 1800s.
Damn, man, that is awesome. Very cool.
God bless his soul. He didn't pick a very productive part of the world to move to, but here we are.
Yeah, I was gonna say that soil's a little bit rocky to work with, but you know.
Oh my gosh, it is. It is. Not much can grow, but it's home, and I'm rooted in it deep, so I'm not going anywhere.
Well, it's cool, man, because Jared and I have talked here even more recent. Obviously, we've got properties that we own, but none of them necessarily right out of our backyard, right? And the amount of things that you're able to accomplish when your property is literally out the back door is night and day difference than even driving an hour or two to your farm.
I've done the hour thing, half hour. It just adds up. I mean, you spend so much time on the road, getting up early. It's a whole lot harder to grind day in, day out during the rut, to where it's just like, oh, but living right here. Unfortunately, we finished the house and moved in November 21st or 22nd. Just terrible timing. So it's just like chalk it up as a waste.
Yeah,
we'll get them next year. But I've even had clients, where you have the satellite farms where it's, I've got a 20 or a 200 there and a 100 there and a 60 there, and it's like moving the equipment around to plant food plots.
Yep.
Where, now a lot of them are, okay, whatever, I'm selling all the satellites and I'm just going to expand on what I got here because it makes way more sense to just be close.
I mean, dude, it's a drastically different lifestyle. Even like what you're talking about, I think that's still a Midwestern, like you could consider yourself like I have some satellite farms, like you said, a half hour and a half. the closest farm that I have to hunt is 2 hours. I call that like the family farm.
Oh man.
More frequently than that, and we do just as much work on it as like the Illinois farm. Like, and so keep in mind, we're coming from Pennsylvania.
It's 9.5 hours.
9.5 hours. I'm like, dude, we get out there like 3, 4, 5, times a year, and it's like all of it comes down to like coordinating with local people to help us out, and then making our trips as productive as probably way more than you feel like they should be, but somehow we find a way.
I to me that goes into the priorities too, because you're just weighing it out, going, okay, what can I accomplish right now that's going to be the biggest return, and then at the same time, which one's going to be the best return for hunting this fall versus the long-term game, where you're like, I'm going to do this because I know it's the right thing, but is that really going to mean that I'm going to kill the 5.5-year-old on the farm this year? This other project's way more direct into that, so I'm doing that instead.
It definitely does make us kind of pick and choose. As much as I hate to do that, because I'm the kind of guy that wants to do it all. So,
well, I mean, we just talked about it on our little farm companion piece. Like, I own 230 acres in southern Ohio that is a great farm, and I probably have the best buck potential going into next year that I've ever had since I owned it, and I'm probably going to sell it this spring. And it's just because, I think last year it's a 3-hour drive from home, and I do have a cabin on it, so I have a place to stay, even, which, for people who don't have anywhere to stay, that's even another, knock on the use. But I think I was there 4 times during the season last year, and I've got a 10 and a 13-year-old. They're in sports, they're in school. Like, we don't get to use it. And so my plan is to sell it and flip it into a farm in Pennsylvania closer to home, if not like right out the back door, basically.
Yeah, no, that's kind of the thing for me. In my job, I get to see crazy places and cool farms, but at the same time, you're like, man, wouldn't it be nice? You automatically think, wouldn't it be nice just to sell the whole farm and move to Iowa? Yeah. I could kill way more efficiently on 200 than 900 in the Ozarks.
Oh yeah.
But then at the same time, it's just like, yeah, but this is home and it's right here. 5.5-year-old probably means more to me here than it would somewhere else, just because we've grinded it out for so long that it's like, okay,
yep,
there's so much more value to me in that, but there is no comparison in some of these other neighborhoods compared to the Ozarks.
Yeah. Well, and I think that is the cool part. Like, there's we've had a lot of conversations around just, if you want to call it chasing antlers or whatever, but it's, ultimately there's a realization of kind of what you have to work with. And like you said, you're blessed to have what you have, but the appreciation for what you would harvest on that property versus if you did draw in Iowa and go and kill, 170 class inch deer, it's a night and day difference as well.
Yeah, no doubt. I think, we moved in November, and I've already dozens of trips already, or close to 20 probably, or over 20 trips that my kids and I have taken the UTV out and drove around looking for deer.
Yep.
And it's just like, there is that side where targeting a giant somewhere else is cool, but man, there is huge value to me in home, and saying I never left. I just tried to make this place better, and it has gotten better, but it wasn't hard to do because it was so bad when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Like, I remember the first hunting season I did where we walked around and we saw one fawn and I shot at it with a 20 gauge slug, and I was over the moon excited about deer season. And the first year of bow hunting, I saw one deer from the tree stand. It's like, it was terrible.
Jeez.
So,
yeah. And so where are you at with that now? Like, what would your classification be on the farm now? Like, is it still fairly low deer numbers?
No, way higher deer numbers than it used to be. It'd be hard. I haven't done a drones survey yet, but I would venture to say we're probably around 50 deer per square mile.
Yeah.
Growing up, we never had an EHD outbreak. It was just something I read about. We never found deer dead in ponds, but you got to have deer to die.
Yeah. That's a good point.
EHD.
Yeah.
So we had our first EHD outbreak 3 years ago. I guess coming up on 3 years now. And the 2 years prior to that, we were talking about neighbors were commenting, there's deer everywhere. What's happened? We're seeing deer all over the highway. It's like, yeah, we finally have a healthy population. We better start thinning them out. And
nature did it
for us. So,
are you still would you say recovering from that, Adam, or like at a fairly good place now? Or
unfortunately, and I may have mentioned this last year, but when I had EHD, then that happened in August, September, and then that fall I had 9 deer that were 3.5 or older that I had on camera at some point through the summer and fall that got killed by the neighbors.
Yeah.
So you combine 9 3.5-year-olds and older and EHD. This was my first year back to where I was seeing 3.5 and 4.5 in better numbers.
Yep.
So
right on.
Hopefully next year is a lot better. And they all made it through. So
yeah. Well, so Adam, what are I'm curious about the neighbor dynamic there too, I guess. But like how long have you been like really focused on improving the farm there? Like how long have you guys been there in trying to improve it essentially?
Yeah. We planted my first food plots when I was like 9.
Okay.
I'm coming up on 40.
Okay.
I kind of went through a whole transition where we were I was a sponge for the outdoor industry. So if Will Primos was hunting over whatever plot, Adam Keith was trying to find that food plot and plant it. And we did that. I remember one of the first times we planted turnips. We went out and sprayed it with Miracle-Gro out of a little bitty pump sprayer. And incredible. I mean, it looked magazine-worthy food plots.
Yep.
Didn't see a deer one in hunting season on it. It was like, what? Well, I don't know what's happening here. Now, looking back, I knew what was happening. There was no cover anywhere near it. There was no bedding because the cows were in the woods. The woods were closed canopy. It was like they were bedded way off of the farm.
Yeah.
And so did food plots then over 20 years ago. And then we started even TSI 20 years ago.
Okay.
My brother and I, when we were in high school, we were running chainsaws doing TSI work.
Okay.
And that's when we really started noticing doing work in the timber attracted more deer.
Yeah.
We would go in the winter with Dad. He'd be cutting firewood, and we'd run a chainsaw, and we'd see the next day go back in, and there'd be deer and there would be tracks in all the snow. And you were like, whoa, we couldn't do this with food plots. So then we just started doing more of that. And that kind of evolved into more and more timber management. And so I would say the biggest thing that we started doing wasn't that long ago, and it was exclusion fences and getting the cows out of the woods and little bitty wood lots where you're like, that's not but 10 acres, but excluding the cows out of that was like, okay, now there's deer bedded right here on the farm. The cameras are full of daylight activity. Like, they're not old enough yet, but there's way more of them.
They're there.
So got the deer out of the timber, and then you followed that up with, like you said, some TSI kind of was like shortly followed. Yeah. Did you guys
having a better idea? Getting the cows out of the timber, and then kind of that evolved into what we call bedding thickets, where we really try to manipulate the timber into a bedding destination. And that's kind of two-phase, where we kind of identified what we felt like they wanted from a structure standpoint, but then we also identified what they wanted from a terrain standpoint. And once we did that, then it's like, okay, just go in and hammer in these 1/2 acre to 2 acre spots, and we don't have to wonder where they're bedded or where they're going to be at some point during the day, because that area over there, they're going to be around it.
Did you guys try to work with any funding programs through the government, like
absolutely
EQIP or any of that? Yeah, can you talk about that a little bit?
I've utilized those a lot. From being the beginning farmer loan, I immediately went in and started doing NRCS applications for forestry management plan. Then that led into woodland restoration. Even the exclusion fences, that was a cost share deal.
Okay.
They just kind of, once I did the application, it was like opening doors for other programs.
Yeah.
So I've utilized quite a few of those.
Yeah. We're kind of in the midst of that, I suppose. And Adam, someday, like if your schedule allows, I'm going to hire you to come out to our farm. I just think it's such apples to apples. Like you'll really appreciate, I think it's an old cattle farm. It's almost 1,000 acres. It's like, it sounds like very, very similar to probably what you have there. Yeah. And, so on all the farms, that one included, are in the initial phases of equip applications and looking at. So the learning curve there is we're like, okay, it's kind of a long road. Like we have a lot of multiflora, basically. You know, they're invasives.
Same thing for me.
Yes.
Everywhere.
So they're like, okay, first 3 years, essentially, you're looking at like managing invasives, and at a certain point you can start to, cut trees and open the invasives. And so I have a forester that's a good friend of mine. He lives very nearby. That's like, we have him, he's CC'd on all the emails. He's going to help us, kind of tackle that on. But, I think honestly, Jeremy, somewhat foolishly have like ignored my timber management a little bit for the past, all of it's been cut. Like lightly. I went through and did some TSI. I think Bill Winke had somebody on in 2011 or something. It was like, this is TSI. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And so I went out and I had, my forester, mark some of these trees we could cut. So we did some of that, but like, it just wasn't nearly heavy enough. It was just enough to let some of the invasives kind of like pop up a little bit.
That's it, man. That's it. And we say it, our kind of phrase is, don't be prepared, and it's a little different PA, so I understand that, especially in New York.
Ohio is where that farm is at, Adam. Just saying.
Okay. Even different, burn regulations. Like in Missouri, I can burn almost any time I want if conditions allow. Just call it in. Very few times they'll try to put a burn ban in place, but even that is not, they don't have the authority. So you can burn pretty much any time.
Yeah.
What we say is don't be prepared to burn if you're not prepared to thin, because we've seen major negative impacts in burning closed canopy hardwoods repeatedly. But don't be prepared to thin if you're not prepared to burn, because what happens is the invasives just start taking off, and by the time you get in there to manage those, they're already out of control and a nightmare for you.
Interesting. So you're saying that the fire has some impact on the invasives?
Yeah.
Really?
Especially multiflora rose.
Really?
Especially multiflora rose. Yes.
How so?
So what I have in multiflora is probably my biggest invasive that I deal with. I don't deal with bush honeysuckle very much at all, or autumn olive. It's multiflora rose.
Yeah.
And what happens in the spring, what you'll notice is it will be one of the first things to green up and have leaves.
Yep.
The oaks, the overstory trees don't have leaves yet. So if you can wait in your burn window, typically people think of burning in February, but it's like even for here in the Ozarks, early April, the multiflora rose already leafed out completely, and none of the overstory is.
Yeah.
So we send a fire through then,
top kill.
and you've got a multiflora that's 8 foot tall, leafed out. You hit it with fire. Now it's growing back from the roots, and it's only a couple foot tall by the end of the growing season.
Okay.
So you can go in and address it with herbicide, or that gives the native species a chance to colonize next to it. So, over time you do that, and you're going to thin it back.
Okay, so that makes sense. That's initial, like you're going to set it back, but that won't kill it, right? That won't kill the plant.
No, it takes repeated burning to kill it. But I would much rather just knock it back and then use herbicide.
Okay, so you still are going to kill it with herbicide ultimately, but you just knock it back with fire first.
Yeah, most likely. But at the same time, 900 acres, 1,000 acres, you can't do it all at the same time. So what you do is, okay, here's a 30-acre burn unit. This is where we're addressing multiflora rose this year. We've burned it. We've removed most of the thatch. So walking through a month after the fire is a breeze. Yep. Throw the backpack sprayer on, zigzag your way through and kill it.
I like that. I like that in Illinois, frankly. Have you prescribed that or been a part of executing that in either Ohio or Illinois?
We have some clients in Ohio that have been utilizing that. Me personally, no, because I don't do a lot of the work for clients.
Sure.
I have a contract crew that does, but on a lot of those cases, or those certain instances in Ohio, it's going to be the client and his boys that have done it, or buddies.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. So the challenge that I'm aware of in Ohio is, like, I think for a timber burn, they require you to have a burn boss on site, and coincidentally, they don't have one. Like, the state doesn't have one, so like you just can't do it.
Yeah, it's very difficult. The regulations that I hear it all the time where you're talking about, well, I wish we could do this or this, and we need to do this. It's like so many times it's the regs that are road blocking us.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean that always is usually the case. Like even in Kentucky, it's the same thing. Burn boss until I think I don't know if it's March or April, but sometime in there, then there's certain time periods the landowner can just burn without a burn boss at that point.
What about Illinois? Do you know the regs there? Like, could we do a timber burn there?
Illinois, I'm not sure. I don't know the regs offhand, but I know a lot of clients that are burning.
Yeah.
So I think it requires a burn plan, but they're able to burn on their own.
Interesting. You're the
And
first.
if not, I did not confess that my clients do it.
No, of course not. I didn't even hear that.
Hypothetically.
You're the first person that's recommended that, and that makes a ton of sense to me. I mean, dude, in our place in Illinois, like if you could put a fire up through that timber lot, because they're talking about going in there with, like, most guys want to default to mulchers. Like when they're when they're looking at multiflora, they're like, you need a mulcher, so we can
at
go
least like bigger multiflora.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're
Knock it back.
So we can go in and basically grid a system so that it can be accessed, so that they can spray it.
Yeah, and the unfortunate side of that is, I mean, you're leveling.
I know.
Oh yeah.
What's out there, so it's like the deer aren't going to use it for anything other than passing through. So if it's a quality area bedding, and you had some multiflora rows, you're like, well, I'm starting that over.
Yeah, trashing it all.
I don't like that.
I don't love it either.
And then, if the multiflora rows, I don't want to confuse anybody or give them false expectations. If it's so thick that it's, you can't hardly go from one clump of multiflora rows to the next, then fire is probably not going to be able to carry through it. That's why getting the fire rotation quickly can help. I mean, if it's that thick, you may have to address it with some basal treatment. But if it's kind of dotted through the timber, set it back with fire.
What if fire's not an option, Adam? What's the next? Let's say in Ohio, can't get a burn boss.
Herbicide.
Can't burn here. Just herbicide.
Yeah, herbicide. And I would rather, the grinding works on some cases where you may have a whole patch of other invasives, say Himalayan blackberry, where it's like, we just got to completely reset this. And that's the unfortunate side, because that's time away from growing back to being something more attractive. But herbicide treatment, whatever the most effective way, in multiflora rows, I'd probably argue that basal treatment is probably the most effective. It uses far less herbicide.
I've heard that.
More effective, in my opinion, than basal or than foliar.
Is that just diesel fuel and like the triclopyr? Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Interesting. Do you cut the bases first, or you just spray it on?
No, I just spray it on.
Yeah. And
I use a little 2-liter solo sprayer and load that baby up, and just sometimes you got to kind of crawl under the branches and squirt it. It's pretty effective. I mean, in 2 weeks, it's toast.
And that's coming right up when you would do that, isn't it?
Yeah, you can do it now. You can do it. We've even done it like in May and still had success. The biggest issue is making sure you get full coverage and not like 2/3 and you got lazy and you're like, I don't really want to crawl in on the other side because of the branches are all the way to the ground. You really need to hit that other side, because you'll have it it'll look dead, but there's still living parts of it.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. It's interesting to hear you talk about the multiflora, because, like, dude, I don't have any multiflora that's like 8 foot tall. It's like, it's all, and honestly, it's not like coming from a single base. I mean, sometimes it is, but it's just very like, it'll be patchy.
It's clumpy.
It's like coming up in this, like an area like this kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm. That's the same thing for me. I have it so bad that, like, it'll be in our pastures, and it's like, up until this point, we've had an extremely busy business. I have 4 kids, 7 and under, and I was living an hour away. Like, the workload was,
undoable.
Things got added way quicker than I took them off. And so we just haven't had the chance to really get after it. I have multiflora in some of my cattle pastures that 2 years in a row, a hen would nest in those.
Oh, yeah.
And you're just like, this is why you're struggling to survive. The best place you can find to nest is under a multiflora rose in the middle of a pasture with 90 acres of restored woodland right up the hill.
Yeah.
Like, you're not that intelligent, bird.
Mm-hmm.
Last thing on that, how does that basal treatment actually work? Is it absorbing it through the root system or through like the trunk of the plant itself?
Through the bark. It's going through the bark and then taking it into the roots.
Yeah.
That's why that's why a lot of people use diesel, even though you will get some hate email about that. So you could say a crop oil triclopyr mix.
Okay.
But that's what's holding it on that trunk.
Interesting.
So it absorbs it. Yeah.
I guess why not a crop oil, to that point? Same thing, right?
Yeah.
It's more expensive.
It's more expensive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Not as easy to find.
Right.
Interesting. That I've heard a few people say that's the way, like people that I trust, and I'm thinking that is a pretty that's to me sounds a lot easier than spraying the whole plant with glyphosate.
I was a employee of a place where we were trying to eradicate it on the roads, and the best option that he came up with was foliar treatment, but he didn't want us to get any herbicide on residual plants. So me
Right.
and interns, I had backpack sprayer. They had cardboard shields.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Can you imagine?
Yes, I
How
can.
efficient is that?
Not efficient. No. Well,
So
yeah.
for me, I was like, check that off the box. That's not the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Cool. Good to know.
Well, and I mean, the mulcher side, that's kind of what we've discussed in a lot of the places that have had it is like, I don't want that area to become void of deer benefit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After the fact, right? That defeats the purpose of me removing the invasives.
It's severe. Like to go in with a mulcher, like, dude, it's going to look like a park after for like a period of time.
No doubt.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge advocate for mulchers. Like, I don't want somebody to think I'm not. But at the same time, whenever somebody says, hey, like they're a deer hunter or even they're a consultant like me and they put value in some invasive species simply because it's structure, you kind of hear them out. You're like, I understand your point.
Yeah.
Like it has value. You don't have oak regen. You don't have some of this other young forest regeneration. What you have are autumn olive or bush honeysuckle. But it's like, that doesn't mean that I don't kill it and leave it standing. Like I want to kill it so it's not spreading. But I understand that structure does have value because the habitat is so poor around here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
well, and for me, I think my perception of our multiflora in Ohio is worse than it actually is. Like we have it, but I don't think it's not like it's an impenetrable woods at all. It's just like, it's just the idea of managing it. Like I haven't, until you feel like you have a plan and you're like, oh, that's the way to tackle it. It just seems insurmountable is what it is,
Well, and also probably to see the results of managing it. Like what then develops in its place, like in the wood areas that you're removing it and stuff, like all you've known is probably multiflora rose. It's like, what could that woodlot be?
So let's walk it out then. So that would be just as your timber management conversation. So like for a lot of us, and I don't think I missed a step there, but it seems to start with invasive management, right? Before you do any kind of like cutting trees, you're going to start with the invasives. You think we're right with that?
They're more shade tolerant, so they automatically have a leg up on most of our native species. And so if you just crack that ceiling, and this is where I see a lot of guys when they go in and they're like, hey, I just saw a video I need to do some hinge cuts.
Yeah.
So they go in and they know they shouldn't hinge cut trees that are too big because that's just playing with dynamite. Like eventually that's going to cause an accident. So they're like, I'm just going to stick with the smaller trees, typically the mid-story trees. And they hinge cut a whole acre of mid-story. Well, that just cracked the ceiling, the canopy by 10-20%.
Yeah.
And so those species that were just growing on the understory that are full shade tolerant, like multiflora rose or some of our other invasives, now they're like, hey, we got 10-20% increase in sunlight. They take off.
Yeah.
And the natives are like laying there begging for more sunlight. Most of the natives. There's still some that are shade tolerant, but most of them are they're needing more sunlight and they never get it because by the time they get it, the invasives have already taken over the mid-story.
HUNTR Podcast is brought to you by DeerGrow.
Man, hard to believe, but DeerGrow has been the sponsor that's been there since the beginning of the HUNTR Podcast. Back in 2021, I think that they were the only partner that we had, but it's such a cornerstone brand and set of products for our food plot strategy throughout the year.
No doubt. And it seems like we used to have an off season, but not so much anymore. It's like when the hunting season ends, it really rolls right into food plot season, habitat projects, all of the above. And the Plot Start and Plot Boost have been there since the very beginning. That's a cornerstone for all of our plots. The Plot Start goes on at the beginning, Plot Boost goes on midway through. And since they came out with all of the fertilizers, that gets mixed in with the Plot Boost application as well. And I can't believe the results that we've been getting out of that.
Yeah, it's been awesome. Like I said, it's all the work now that really produces the results in the fall. So right now, anyone listening to HUNTR Podcast can use code HUNTR, HUNTR, for 15% off any of the products at DeerGrow.com.
Better food plots, bigger deer. Do you think that those natives in like the desirable region that we're looking for can come without fire and timber? Like, again, I'm looking at Ohio where I think that's a restriction. Like, to me, I'm like, yeah, you got to burn that leaf litter off, expose it, kill the invasives, and then you'll have what you want. But if we don't put fire on it.
It depends on what the native site is. You know, like oaks really need fire, but what they really need most is sunlight. So kind of the rule we've always heard and said around our farm is if we want to grow oaks, we better cut oaks and burn, because that's going to stimulate. And I've seen it. Like my farm has tons of, in a world of most people not sure what the post oaks are going to do, I have a ton of post oak regeneration.
Yeah.
But we're not scared of fire. And my neighbors will probably tell you that, because every spring they have to deal with it, but deal with the smoke. But
yeah, my dad is terrified of fire. That's definitely a hurdle.
If you go into parts of Ohio or New York or Pennsylvania where it's a maple, maple dominated forest, then
no, we're like you do. We're predominantly oaks. It's oaks. There are some maples, cherry. Basically, like
it's oak hickory forest.
We have some hickory too. But basically, any forester that looks at our place is like, you need to just go in and cut every cherry and maple you have, and then be selective with your oaks. Because the cherries aren't straight, the maples aren't valuable for anything, and the oaks are what you want.
Unfortunately, cherries aren't as valuable as they used to be. And that's kind of goes in the high grading conversation that I like to have with people as a reminder that we love to dog on loggers. It's a common conversation. It was like, oh, loggers love to high grade. But in reality, as landowners, we're like, hey, would you want to come log my property? See if there's, and let's just say there's 30-40% of the trees on that guy's farm could actually provide income for that logger. Well, of course that's the best quality ones. We're 4th, 5th generation of cut the best and leave crap.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I mean, that's just what I see so much, especially in the Northeast, when you have tulip poplar or beech.
Oh yeah.
Or cherry, where it's like we cut the oaks 3 timber harvests in a row, and we left the cherries and the elms and the ash or whatever it may be, and that's what the forest is.
Yeah. No, that's a huge problem. I mean, even on, I bought my 28 acres where my house is here 10 years ago, and I bet it was probably cut 5 or 6 years before that. On 28 acres, I probably can count a dozen of oaks, maybe. And the rest is tulip poplar and
so here's
cherry
a question for you.
And maple.
On a property like that, or just on any property that has very little timber value potential, what do you do with that? What do you do with that timber lot?
That's what every landowner gets to weigh out. Do I care more about a future harvest, or do I care about my lifetime being focused on wildlife?
Yeah.
And I think if we're honest, in my opinion, if we're honest about that question, we could have our cake and eat it too. Meaning, if our sole purpose was future oak production, we would cut it so hard that it would have tremendous wildlife value.
Yeah.
But it would have this appearance that we didn't care about the trees. But in reality, we were just doing what should have been done 3 cuts ago, 75 or 100 years ago, and thin out the weed trees.
Yeah. So in that case, you basically go and cut everything that's not an oak or something that might have potential
I would do
value.
More of a crop tree release where I'm like really focused in on the oaks, cut the stuff or kill it some sort of way with different tactics around the oaks, and then address, some of the areas that don't have oaks. I'd be like, you know what, let's do a complete reset. And it's a 2-acre clear cut. Now I have tremendous bedding, and it's a temporary forest opening.
That's where I think like equip can be really valuable. It's because they'll pay you to go, like, a logger's only going to pay you for those valuable trees.
Right.
Whereas something like equip will pay you to cut those non-desirable trees out from the more valuable ones.
Correct.
That's the two that they have, is the call tree or a tree calling or whatever, and then a crop tree release. Those are the two. And coincidentally enough, they both fall under a 666 contract, which my dad was not super fond of.
Yeah, no doubt. Anytime you see that number, it's like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Seems wrong.
Sign here?
Yeah.
Seems wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't jump at joy signing up for that one. I do what, so my farm, and each region might have an emphasis area. There's different things across the country. Like you go in the Northeast and up in your guys' area, probably more east of you, but Golden Wing Warbler initiative where it's like, hey, we're doing some really awesome stuff. I've had clients where it's like they got paid to log and paid for the cost share, which is like double dipping, which is like a huge no-no for my part of the world. You can't log and get cost share. It's like you can log and then sign up.
Mm-hmm.
And I fall into woodland restoration is typically a lot of mine. And I don't care sharing numbers, but mine's like $240 an acre for TSI and then like $80 some an acre for burning. So it's right around $320 an acre, which if I do it myself, that's tremendous.
Yeah, that's good money.
You know,
Dude.
it's
and it goes up from there.
Not part of just dumping money into the farm anymore.
Goes up from there too, man. I think I'm not sure about all of our practices, but some of the stuff we're talking about is it's like $500 an acre.
Really?
Yeah, good for you. Good for you. Each state's a little different. Each region's a little different.
And for tree plantings and stuff, it's like they'll pay for the entire tree and the tube. Like they'll give you a lot of money for that stuff.
Yeah, I did some tree plantings on the stream bank restoration. I have a little creek that runs through me, and there, of course, graze for years right up into the creek. So there was like no young trees and major erosion. So we planted a ton of oaks and different things along the creek, and they paid for everything. Yeah. Now it sucked. I didn't want to touch a dibble bar for 2 years. After that, but we got it done.
How many trees did you put in?
It was a couple thousand.
Yeah, we're talking about a couple thousand. We're dibble barring into an old clear cut. That's what we're talking about. Sounds like a laborious process.
Yeah, that sounds like a rough one.
Yeah, it's a labor of love. You got to love it because nobody with a right mind would go out and do this for what they pay. But hey, we look at it going, I need to do it, and they're going to pay me.
They're going to pay me to do it. That's it.
Can I can I gut check that project against you real quick? So this is old clear cut that a couple of years ago, solar company came in and they were like, hey, we're gonna basically lease the property for an exploratory time frame, and as a part of that, I guess my parents agreed to have this small, it's like a 12-acre section of timber, essentially clear cut. They did a harvest. I think that they made some. My parents made some money off of that, I'm sure, and for some reason there's still some trees standing, like maybe 10% of the trees. And immediately the deer sucked to it like a magnet. You know what I mean? It's like, course, yeah, they loved it. It's one of the best, holding areas that we have right now. But honestly, it's not like to look at it, it's not like a thicket. It just kind of has enough topography in it and enough brush piles and stuff that they use it. And per our conversation so far, our timber is not well managed, so they flock to the best that we have. So we're talking about improving that, and like basically the plan that I laid out that I'm wanting to check with you here is, so we're going to start first with spraying it for cool seasons. We're going to I'm going to have a drone go in. I was talking to Madison the other day, late March, early April, and just spray for fescue basically. Yeah, because that's what we have a lot of. Like everything in our region just kind of reverts to cool season cattle pasture. Yeah. So plan is to spray for that, cut the rest of the trees down, just leave the top stand. Dad might take some for firewood, and then dibble bar a tree planting into it, talking everything from like your red osier dogwoods to, some of the white oak species and stuff like that. So with the goal of creating a better thicket, a better mousetrap, basically. Yeah, that's kind of classic. I have a client actually in Pennsylvania that when I designated areas for bedding thickets, he's a logger, so he just went in and clear cut it. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of a great reminder that, it creates an attraction compared to the neighborhood. But if we're looking at a manipulated, cut the trees, hinge cut, leave a lot of the structure, that's, on a scale of 1 to 10, that's a 9 or a 10, while a clear cut's a 5 or a 6. Mm-hmm. So the deer do suck to it because the rest of the neighborhood's a 1 or a 2. Mm-hmm. But when you look at that area and you're like, okay, what's the best case here? You think that it's because it got clear cut, it's going to be this bedding area. Well, not if they took most of the structure. Mm-hmm. So going in and doing what you're doing, and if it's a cost share, great.
my only comment would be, I wouldn't mix too hard where it's like, I would be like, here's a pocket of red oaks, here's a pocket of white oaks with maybe some other elm or whatever native species, but then here's more of my shrubby component in an area to where you don't have these shrubs growing up next to a hardwood tree, and in 10 years the hardwood's outcompeted the shrub and the shrub goes away.
So the way that the Equip guy kind of prescribed it is because I shared him my vision for it. He said, cool, well, we're going to put your hardwood plantings on the knobs, and we would put your shrubbier stuff kind of like on the on the
sides.
On the drains on the sides.
Exactly.
Where it's probably more perfect. That's what I would do. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's the plan then.
And it's one of those that, as I mentioned earlier in the podcast, like weighing out the timeline. Like this is that's a long-term commitment for you.
Yeah.
Like you're going to plant those trees and probably not going to see a whole lot of. Those trees specifically aren't going to draw a lot of attraction for another 3, 4, 5 years.
Sure. Dude, that's a blink of an eye. That's nothing.
Yeah.
3, 4, 5 years when it comes to land management, that's like tomorrow.
Well, shoot, yeah. How do I speed this up? Let's go have a kid. That'll make
there
life
you go.
Faster.
Walk away.
It is the hard part, man, because like you get so vested into these projects and stuff, and that is the reality is it takes 3 to 5 years to see the result, and in some cases, if you didn't do it good enough, you wasted 3 to 5 years, right? Like what you see,
which we all have. I certainly have wasted time. Adam's been on his farm since he was 9 years old. Like the projects the years that have gone by, you're like, I could have done this 10 years ago,
Yeah, and so it's like you wait 3 to 5 years to see if it did what it's supposed to do, and like if it didn't or you didn't do it appropriately, like you're out that time.
Yeah,
don't get it back.
And I just did a reel on our channel 2 days ago, where I walked through a portion of the farm. This is a thing that kind of feels like, it doesn't even feel real, but I'd been working all morning. I was like, I need to just go get some fresh air.
Yeah.
So I just jumped on the UTV, drove out, and was like, let's go walk through there. I've been here in a couple of years. And so I cruised through a part of one of the first areas my brother and I ever TSI'd 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's like the stumps are burned up, almost gone. And it's like, we need to do it again.
Yeah.
And you're just like, holy cow, 20 years felt like yesterday.
Yeah, gone.
Just and you just like, it was a good reminder of like, okay, moving forward, everything we do needs to have purpose. It needs to have a plan. I want this to be, I'm not looking for immediate results, but there are some projects that are, I can go in and find a spot on a knoll that deer bedding, and I can put a bunch of trees on the ground and do a bedding thicket, and next fall that'll be one of the most attractive things I do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Versus TSI, which is like, hey, I'm going to TSI and I'm going to kill a bunch of trees, and it may have some benefit, but if I'm not using fire, it's going to take a while for the plant composition to change in the understory to attract those deer. If I'm doing zero, if I'm just doing girdle and spray and I'm just doing hack and squirt, it's like I didn't put any structure on the ground. All I did was kill these trees standing. Mm-hmm. Now it's 3-4 years to really see an effect.
Yeah.
Like that's the difficult decision I have occasionally with landowners when they're like, okay, this is a lot of work that you've laid out. Like, and really, it's the 80-20 rule. What's the 20% of work that you recommended to get me 80% of the success?
Yep, for sure.
You're like, you want the cheat code. Yeah.
What's the shortcut?
What's the shortcut? And it's like bedding thickets, water holes, maximize food plots, improve your access.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's your 80%.
Yeah, and that's the side, because you want to encourage the landowner to do the work, but at the same time, if he's got limited time, you're like, I wish you could TSI, and that's where cost share comes in. If I could get him enrolled in cost share, and it's like, now you're not just paying all this out of pocket.
See, that 80-20 ratio or whatever is interesting, because like we all, like, that's the fun stuff to default to. We're like, we've got so caught up in that, over the years, should be like, okay, food plots, everything that you just said there, improve the strategy on it, and it does help significantly. Like, it definitely, it will benefit a farm. But that's where I'm at with our place, is I feel like we haven't really increased like the overall long-term value of like the deer of the habitat on the farm because we have inadequately addressed the timber. So like I'm at a point here now where I'm like I would almost rather put a lot of that stuff aside to just like, you know, invest in a long-term improvement of managing our timber. I just think like over the lifetime of me having that farm is gonna be way more fruitful.
Congratulations, you graduated from a hunter to a land manager.
Yeah,
like that's the 80-20 is specifically about hunting. You know, it's the bedding thickets. Temporary forest opening, they have value from a forest standpoint, especially non-game species. But in reality, like each food plot you have might have 1 or 2 bedding thickets close by that are 2 acres, and we may be talking about a 300-acre tract of ground where we might have 20 acres, probably on the very liberal side of that. I would say more like 10 acres of bedding. And all the rest is unmanaged. Yeah. And I think that's where a lot of landowners kind of transition from, I only care about big bucks, to now I want to do something that's lasting. That's the legacy part of our name. I want to see this farm improve to where even long after I'm gone, my work is still impacted.
Yeah. Well, really, what did it for me this year was the fact that they ate us out of of standing grain, like a lot of it. I had like 16 acres of standing soybeans, and that I think, you know, brought me to a point where I'm like, I'm not tapping into our biggest workhorse for feeding deer, which is our timber. I'm like, I can't afford to, nor do I, you know, can I continue to like farm at the scale of operation needed to like feed these deer. So I'm like, I need to manage the timber better. Obviously harvest more deer is part of that, but dude, 16 acres of standing beans because we had a really severe drought this past August and September. And they just annihilated everything that was green. I'm talking like whatever was in the woods was eaten. Whatever beans and pods were there, like they ate a lot of. And then so by the time mid December rolled around, I mean, dude, those beans were stems. You know, 16 acres of them.
That's crazy. In reality, though, it's like 16 acres in comparison to 1,000 acres, whatever. It's like, oh boy. But we want to go down the rabbit trail and say, well, if that was a late season attraction, what an impact you could have on the neighborhood herd if that many deer are coming into 16 acres, where it's like, I'm drawing in the neighbor's deer and I've got tags and we're going to start annihilating.
100%.
But it's one of the biggest problems when we said early about regs. It's like, I want to burn. Oh, guess what? My regs don't allow me to burn when I need to burn.
Right.
Oh, I want to kill more deer. Oh, my regs don't allow me to shoot the does I need to shoot.
Yeah, like we can get it done. So I mean, and I guess where I'm like the part of the farm that I focus on is in one county, and it's a 3 deer county. I mean, dude, if we wanted to, I mean, we have kids come out. I mean, that's who's shooting most of our does. Is like we do a doe fest with a bunch of kids. They come out with their dads and stuff. We shot 12 this past year off that part of the farm. We shot 12 last year, something like that. And I mean, we could kill more. That's like in a day and a half, you know, just of like a targeted effort.
Yeah.
Which is probably a big part of the focus. I think that, you know, as you're managing your timber and stuff, that, you know, and it depends at different times of the year. Obviously, the later it goes and the less food that's out there, the more it seems like you guys suck the deer into the property.
100%. Well, and we're the only ones feeding right now. I mean, so it's not perfect. You know what I mean? It's like I've got 2 big, I say they're big, but they eat them out in like 3 weeks to a month. I got 2,000-pound feeders that we fill with corn. And this past year, just this past couple of weeks, because of the snow, we've been putting out alfalfa bales, trying to just give them something, you know, something better, you know. So I see so much potential. Like there's been you know, on one hand, like it's a bait state and we're always going to have the limiting factor of our neighbors and stuff. But like, dude, it's 1,000 acres. Like, you know what I mean? I refuse to believe that we can't continue to at least improve it in some ways, you know?
No doubt. I mean, when you just look at the research of what is a closed canopy hardwood patch feed, 50 to 100 pounds per acre per year. That's not counting hard mass, and then you just look at what's a young forest provide. No, that can provide 1,500 pounds per acre per year.
Wow.
It's like, whoa, it doesn't take and then you take the other research where it's like a 30% decrease in canopy increased deer forage by 500%. So it doesn't require a lot. And if you can utilize logging or TSI crew and cost share, it's like that's not counting on me to be out there slinging a chainsaw. And so just doing that, a lot of times, like when we do a workshop or a seminar, one of our favorite presentations is to take a farm and say, okay, here's, everything that's close canopy hardwoods is red, everything that's food plot is green, everything that's old field is purple, and you do that and you add up how many pounds of forage is produced per acre per year, and it's like, and then comparison to an adult doe is eating about 2,000 pounds. And most of the time it's shocking of how little food there really is for what we know the deer herd is.
Yeah.
You're like, how do these things even make it?
Yeah.
Corn piles, that's how they make it.
Yeah. Well, that's what happened here recently, and that's what's now got me thinking, because I'm the only one I think still feeding.
Yeah, because season's over.
And it's just corn piles. And then that created a new problem. I'm like, is it a bad thing that they're eating all this corn that I'm feeding them? Like, maybe I should feed them, something better. But that's freaking expensive. So maybe I should do that for a period of time, but also, manage my timber and find better ways to feed them,
No doubt. Yeah. Corn is not high on the list of nutrition, but at the same time, it's better than nothing.
Is it?
And,
what do you think
Matt
about
made the
that,
comment.
Sorry, go ahead. You finish yours. I got a question for you.
Well, I was going to say, we just did a podcast talking about baiting a few weeks ago. And ultimately it was like, you've seen the articles, you've seen people talk about, hey, it's bad time. If you haven't been feeding corn, you could kill your deer going out and feeding them, just filling their stomachs full of corn.
Yes.
And then when you think about it logically, or kind of, the neighborhood, and you're like, yeah, I'm not sure there's ever a time that they don't have corn available somewhere. Like most, even in the non-baiting states, there's still corn available somewhere.
Right.
So, it's like, yeah, that's not a worry of mine, is that I'm going to find a deer with a belly full of corn dead.
Really? What is the sickness or whatever that causes that, Jeremy? What's that called?
They get an acidosis, basically.
Acidosis.
Yeah, but that would be, again, going back to like their gut, microbiomes and stuff like that, of how they've been feeding on stuff before.
Jeremy and I just had a big conversation a couple of weeks. He was warning me basically about feeding all this corn, and I'm like, I don't know.
If they've had it available all fall, then I'm not worried about it.
Well, they definitely have. I think the concern we were discussing was more so if that is all they eat, if the timber is not managed, if or whatever, the corn is just so easy for them to access that's all they eat, that it can kill them, or it can be detrimental to their health. Do we think that's true, or?
It could be if that's all, but chances are, I hate to say this, but they're probably eating multiple rows if that's in the timber. Because that is
are they eating your conifers yet? They eating your pines?
Oh, they ate all those years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so we planted years ago Norway spruce and white pine at about a 50-50 ratio. And so the Norway spruce, to my knowledge, they don't eat. And so those
they did. Yeah, they shouldn't eat, but
those all did well. So they're not eating those. But all the white pine, they either rubbed out or ate in the first 2 years. All of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the corn thing, you're right, Adam, in terms of like if they've had it available to them, that they have some sort of adjustment already in their gut for that. Right.
Do you know about like gut microbiome stuff? Are you feel fairly well versed in that? No.
I wear a hunter cap first and foremost.
Okay.
Like, when people talk about the biology of a deer and it's like, oh, they do this, and it's like, how does that affect me on harvesting them?
Okay.
That's me. I'm an ag background. Like, that didn't interest me when I was growing up, and it doesn't really interest me now because it has very little impact on whether or not I grow bigger ones and kill them.
Well, that's what we were trying to get to the root of, or that we were discussing, is like, does feeding them exclusively corn change their gut microbiome at a certain point of the year? And then if you introduce alfalfa, like, is their gut microbiome able to adapt and adjust to that, and so on and so forth? That's what we were.
And the answer is it can. It just takes time, right? Like,
correct. And the big thing is, like, for me, when you look at that, where it's like, we're talking about a deer that has nothing else. Like, very rarely will you ever cut a deer's stomach open and find one item.
Right.
they're browsers by nature. So it's like, even if it's multiflora rose or autumn olive or Japanese honeysuckle, like there's something available. Like if they're going up and spending a portion of the day in the woods, they're eating something.
Yeah.
It may be limited, but they're eating something. And so it's not like their entire stomach is going to be straight corn. And if it is, that deer probably had something else going on anyway that most likely wouldn't allow it to live through the winter. So
I would really love to know, like right now, and this week specifically, or even better, like last week when we had this severe, I mean, we were talking, 15 inches of snow, which is uncommon for our area. Like that doesn't happen very often. And also I've not had these feeders in the past. This is the first year that I've had them. So this is the first year now that like there's no grain, the timber's not super well managed. We have a ton of snow and we have readily available corn. I would have loved to known in this past week here, shoot a doe or something and see what's in her.
But there's a lot,
no doubt.
Because you said
probably a lot.
You said they're killing 2,000 pounds of corn in 3 weeks,
3 to 4 weeks during that peak cold.
That's a ton of corn, literally
a ton of corn.
That's a lot to go away in 3 weeks. Even
how many deer do you think were eating that?
That's a good question. I should have taken Madison up on a survey here recently.
I bet you had 30 plus per feeder. You think more than that?
Yeah,
more than 30 plus deer per feeder.
I mean, not at one time.
No, but just utilizing.
Yeah, probably 30 to 50 per feeder.
Okay. So like even if you say 50 deer per feeder, that's 40 pounds of corn per deer.
That's
a lot of deer.
2 weeks?
Per 3 weeks.
Per 3 weeks, 40 pounds?
That's if they didn't visit the other feeder.
Right, yeah.
Because they're both in the same property, right?
Yeah, they're probably quarter mile away from one another.
So for sure.
They definitely, yeah. Oh, for sure, I see the same bucks.
Yeah. So you're talking about 80 pounds of corn, give or take.
Well, no, you can't double it.
You think there's another 30 to 50 on the other feeder?
Yeah.
All right. So say 40 pounds of corn per deer in 3 weeks. That's a lot of corn.
How many is that per day?
Huh?
How many is that per day?
Oh, I don't know. 2.
Let's see,
4. 2 to 2.5 pounds.
2 to 2.5 pounds? Per day?
That's a belly full.
That's a belly full. Yeah, I know.
What's a deer? I don't even know anymore. Like what's a deer poundage wise consume a day?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't either.
You're going into biology.
Yeah,
again.
and I'm in that realm, and I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I mean, you think about if you ate 2 pounds of corn in a day.
I'm trying to envision 2 pounds. It's like a can of corn,
at least.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, interesting.
I think the biggest discussion around it is not necessarily to Adam's point is like deer are naturally selectors. So like because people may listen to this and be like, well, I got cornfields all over the place and deer aren't dying. Well, yeah, but it's because they're browsing all the way to the cornfield and they're browsing all the way back, right? That there's readily available other foods to balance it out, and especially around like the amount of crude protein, right? So deer needs 6 to 8% crude protein for basic metabolic functions, breathing, digestion, whatever.
Right.
Corn is usually in that 6 to 8% window. So just like if we took a protein shake, we don't extract all of the crude protein out of a protein shake. There's only so much that's digestible. Mm-hmm. So in that same way, corn is immediately lower than the need for basal metabolic functions. Yeah. So that's where it says, like, if you get into the realm of, like, they just eat corn, and again, it's literally, to Adam's point, like, only eating corn, they don't have enough crude protein.
And they haven't had it up into that
point. Right, yeah, because then their gut the microbiome can't pull the nutrients out in an efficient manner.
So we don't have that problem, Adam. Like, our deer have corn everywhere. Fields, piles, whatever. They're well acquainted with corn. Yeah. It's just more so, can they live on corn and corn alone during times of, like, lots of snow, basically, and for how long?
And I would say not on corn alone. But odds of them only eating corn, not good either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just did the math, 2,000 pounds on average, divide that over days in a year, and it's like 5.5 pounds per day.
Okay. So so you're saying about half of their diet would have been corn at that point.
What was the math again? I'm sorry.
It was, so an adult doe is like 2,000 pounds per year.
What they eat,
that they're going to consume. So you divide that by 365. And,
So there you go.
At 5.5 pounds.
Oh, okay. And so we're saying half their belly full requirement.
If they're eating 5.5 pounds during those time periods, which they probably aren't, they're stressed out.
Probably aren't.
Probably
There's
not.
probably a heavy, you're going to see that line graph where it's like in the winter it's much lower than the
spring and
summer.
spring.
But at the same time.
I'm sure those deer are dying for that snow to melt so they can get back down to acorns that are under the snow.
For sure. I had 5 does in the backyard just digging right around my pond, just getting down to where I had some, I probably had rye and oats and some clover and stuff. Just it got soft enough with some of the sun and warmer temperatures that they finally dug down deep to where you can see all the spots where they're accessing it now.
Yeah. The Hunter Podcast is brought to you by Hoyt.
Should be no surprise to anyone listening to this that back with Hoyt another season. I'm actually going to be shooting the AX2 aluminum this year.
You traitor.
But you're still going RX9.
Yeah, blacked
carbon,
out as always.
Blacked out. Big surprise for
80
everyone.
pounds. Big surprise. Yeah.
But seriously, man, I mean, it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. Every year it seems like we get a new Hoyt bow in our hands, and they're always a step above the last and just a step above everybody else.
Yeah, they're so consistent, man. Just their processes get better, every year. And we've really been excited about, as we've grown with Hoyt, we've brought some others in with us. And we just feel like the Hoyt family is growing, like the community, and we're really excited about the people that are involved, excited to be a part of that company. And it's really awesome.
So for anyone that's excited about Hoyt like Jared and I are, you can use the code HUNTR, HUNTR, on Hoyt.com.
Get serious, get Hoyt. To offset that, Adam, I did feed some alfalfa at those feeder sites. I went out and I put 20 square bales of alfalfa at each one.
Oh, wow.
And honestly,
how did they eat it? Did they eat it well?
I think they're about getting through it pretty quick. Like
That'll be interesting to see because you put corn in there too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I just I spiked it with some corn.
So
laced it.
It does seem like they're like you see them chewing alfalfa hay.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
There's been a lot of people that have commented and said they've tried it and they don't eat it, and I'm not. Maybe that's just regionality based.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Well, also
I've seen it mix. Because we consult so much in the winter and spring that there's a lot of stuff that have happened in the fall and even currently right after your season that I get to see. And alfalfa bales is it's like 50-50 if you're going to ask me. Like on some places they've utilized it. Other places like 2 weeks ago, no, it's just thrown out it might as well look like bedding. It just they didn't consume it at all. And I probably think it has a lot to do with like even the first time you plant brassicas. They don't eat it because they haven't adjusted to it.
Yep.
So
I would assume in my case, granted, I haven't been back physically to those sites. I can just kind of see on the cameras. It just looks like there's less material out there. Like some of the stuff that was still in like square blocks is like has been broken down. Mm-hmm. So I'm assuming they're eating it. In this case specifically, I would assume that it's because of just there is not a whole lot else. You know what I mean? If they are eating it, it's out of like they have to.
That's what they got.
But I will have it in the future. Like next year for sure. I'm gonna stockpile round bales. Mm-hmm. And if they don't eat it, fine. But in case we get a lot of snow like this or something, like I'm gonna have some.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I manage my farm. We logged almost the whole farm over the last 7 years, and so you can tell it based on because I logged very aggressively. We had a lot of black oaks and hickories that weren't cut in previous years. The black oaks were starting to hollow out in the middle, so they needed cut. So we cut very aggressively. And so when you look at my farm from, on X, it's like, holy cow, that guy went crazy. And it's just like, no, we just tried to reset everything.
Yep.
Food everywhere as far as woody browse.
Mm-hmm.
And yet I drive down the road and there's 7 deer standing in my neighbor's yard eating bird seed.
Yeah.
You're like, what are you doing? Like, how stupid are you?
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, it's easy.
Preach to the choir on that one.
Well, I mean, I guess just because we've talked about your feeding here a lot in the last few, like we've had a lot of people basically say, well, what's the alternative? Like, let's say like you don't want to feed, right? Mm-hmm. Or in some states, like Illinois, you can't, right? It's illegal. And the basis is that you have to be comfortable with just letting those deer naturally spread across the landscape. Right. Like you're not going to see them. They're not going to be on your property. You're not going to manage to find their sheds essentially. Like they're going to just disperse across the landscape till they find their pocket.
Fend for themselves, basically.
Yep, and do it on their own, which is fine.
That's right.
Now, given if you're in Ohio or something, like, good chance that they just move to the next corn pile. Like, if somebody's still feeding or
the problem
somebody's
with Ohio
got standing
too is
grain or whatever.
the season goes clear through the end of February, so like good chance they get shot.
Good chance they get shot. Yeah, and I mean that's what it is. I mean, in Illinois, it's like unless you have standing grain, like they're just going to disperse across the landscape and find their next nook and cranny to live in through this.
Yeah, I think of a couple years ago, I was in southern Iowa, and we drove by a feed store that had, of course, the big
corn piles. Corn bags of corn.
Yeah, they had big grain towers, and all of a sudden there's deer running everywhere, and you're like, "What in the world?" And they were all coming in and eating spilled grain right there in the parking lot. You're like,
"That's a hot spot."
Land of giants.
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
Probably leased that spot out.
Yeah, right on the edge of town. You're just like, you were expecting giants, but it was just a boatload of does,
just all over the place. Yeah,
yeah. So do whatever it takes. They yard up somewhere.
They'll find a spot, whether it's a nearby clear cut or somebody's feeding, somebody's got bird feed around. There's like right up here every morning I drive by, somebody's got, I don't know, it's probably corn or whatever in their backyard on the top of the snow. There's usually 7 or 8 gobblers just sitting around eating the corn, and I'm sure there's deer coming to it too. It's just every morning I just see the turkeys there, and I'm just, and to most people they, and you can't blame them for it, right? But they feel like they're doing good. They're like, oh, it's cold, it's snowy. Like, I'm just gonna put some food out. It'll help the wildlife.
Yeah,
that's the mindset for most of these people.
It got super cold here. Same storm front. You guys had all the snow. We had probably 9 inches of snow, and down south they got ice. And I saw people that were not cattle farmers like, oh, I feel so bad for the cows, and I'm like, why? Like they're not soft. They know how to survive.
They'll be all right.
As long as they have hay or grass, they're fine. I mean, there's cows that live in Canada. If you want to feel sorry for somebody, feel sorry for them.
Yeah, it's cold. Yeah.
It's cold, but
that's just the mindset.
Animals, they're fine.
That's the problem is it's like it's the disconnect from like the domestic side to the wild side of things. They're like, well, I can't leave my dog out in this. These poor deer are living out there, all day, every day in this stuff. And don't get me wrong. They do get stressed. They have it tough, but they figure it out. They're smart. They know when to burn calories and when not to. They know where to go. Like last night was probably yesterday afternoon was probably the most activity I saw. And I think we hit 30 degrees and it was sunny out, right? So they knew that moving at that point in time, like they weren't going to burn near as much calories as a couple days before when it was -10 with the wind chill, and snowing. Yeah. So
that's right.
They know when to move and when not to, and they know when to burn calories and when not to. So it's just trying to find it. But yeah, I mean, it is funny how we kind of continue to circle around, and I think we touched on it a little bit there with like some of the crew stuff, but even for me from a timber management side, I think the hardest part there is not necessarily intimidation from a descriptor, but progress from a descriptor of like most of my farms like are 250 acres of just pure timber. And it's like, where do I even start? Especially by myself. It's like I can spend a full day till my arms are numb from holding the chainsaw and look back and be like, I didn't do anything.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's a great point. And that's ultimately what every single person deals with, of analysis paralysis. You get gung-ho, you get the chainsaws sharp, and you go out there and you're like, I spent all day and I don't think I did anything.
Yeah.
And so for us, we always go, okay, you're a hunter first. You are your sole point of owning this farm was, it could be investment, but you bought it to hunt. Okay, let's make the hunting better. So let's identify the areas that deer naturally want to bed. And that is 1 acre that we're just gonna, let's say, clear cut for lack of a better term. Mm-hmm. And then, there's another, it's a 50-acre lot. There's another spot over there that's off the road. It's in a secluded spot. Let's clear cut that. It's like that alone has changed the hunting for years to come. And then you go, okay, what's the priority for TSI? And it's like everything that is down in the lowland or deep, dark north slope, that's irrelevant to me because that's supposed to be closed canopy most likely. So what's the next? East slope. That's generally more closed canopy. I'm not going to worry about my east slopes and my north slopes. I'm going to focus on the upland, if it's a ridge, the top 2/3 of that west-facing slope or south-facing slope. That's where I'm going to go first because that's going to get the biggest response.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have to worry about the other stuff. Cross that off the list. I'm not doing it. I'll focus on those those south and west-facing slopes.
Yeah.
After I've done the bedding thickets.
Right.
I've done that.
Yep.
And because what the challenge for me has always been in working with landowners is how to keep them motivated to where they continue doing the management plan.
Yeah, they need to see some reward or success out of it to keep moving forward.
Correct, because if he doesn't, he's going to think I'm just full of it, and he's going to throw the plan away and move on.
Yep. And
so what we have to do is lay it out in a way that keeps them motivated. They did this, they saw results. They did that, they saw success. And so the bedding thickets, first and foremost, if you did those, you've seen more deer, you're seeing more daylight activity, deer are bedding on the place now, great. It's really hard to do that unless the habitat is very poor, to go out in TSI 20 acres and see such a drastic change in deer movement.
Sure.
And so that's where I always look at landowners or people that recommend just TSI and not hinge cutting because they're so anti-hinge. It's like that you're not going to see the impact. You're not going to see the benefit.
Mm-hmm.
And a guy who's not seeing the success is moving on to something else.
That's interesting. So you're saying the main benefit of hinge cutting, like in the way you're describing it, is because it's allowing the tree still to live and to leaf out.
It's attracting them for bedding, because my opinion is always that if the goal is bedding, then TSI has to be incredibly aggressive.
Sure.
To see deer bedding in there.
Yeah.
And then if we do it on a scale, like I don't want deer bedding in a 20-acre block and be like, point your finger, they bed in that 20 acres. That's like trying to hunt a 20-acre crop field and get them in a bow range.
Yeah.
So we dial it way down to half acre to 2 acres. And in reality, my opinion is that when you go out on a ridge, you're going to find deer beds in one little secluded spot and probably not many other places.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like those little secluded spots, that's where we're going to go from good to great. We're going to manipulate, cut, hinge cut, flush cut, get a lot of debris on the ground.
Yeah.
And then everything else we're going to TSI around it, knowing that chances are they're going to pass through it. They're going to feel comfortable going through it, but it's not destination bedding.
Yeah.
If it is, that should tell you the habitat around you is
trash,
horrific.
What do you think about the invasive management in those like buck bedding pockets? Because like that's so we've done some of that along with the underprescribed TSI probably is like I went to a couple of those. They're predominantly east facing knobs. And we identified based on signs and beds and stuff, like bucks are bedding here. So I went in and I clear cut some of them, and I didn't do anything with the multiflora or anything. And truthfully, I don't know like where we stand with that. I still treat those as kind of like, bedding areas and stuff, but thoughts on invasive management in those areas or
just go in there. I'm not one of those that says, okay, you cut it, now stay out. Like I got to go in there and manage it.
Okay.
I did a consult a couple weeks ago for a guy that I worked for 6 years ago. And we walked in there, and all the stuff that he cut down was 10, 15 foot tall. It's like, okay, it's ready to be cut down again. Yeah. Like, it's already out of reach. Hinge cut, flush cut, knock it all back down.
Okay.
Yep.
So proactive management, go in those bedding cuts. In your guys' area, God bless you if you have to. God help you if you find it. But Japanese stilt grass.
Oh, yeah.
We don't have.
If it's in those areas, get it out.
Yep.
But multiple rows, basal treatment, not that worried. The biggest thing is just don't let it turn into where it's just a barrier of briars that they don't want to penetrate.
Because it will thrive as soon as you open that canopy up.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it'll go crazy.
Yeah.
And you would still try to...
my least favorite of all the invasives.
Yeah.
What? Multiflora?
Stilt grass.
Stilt grass.
The stilt grass.
Yeah.
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 What I'm asking though is you're saying you would still try to address that multiflora in those like little clear cut areas. You would.
Yeah. Go in there after 2-3 years of cutting it. Go in there and see what you got.
Yeah.
And
cool.
If you have to cut them down to make that trail open back up, do it. But to me, bedding areas is like it's like I'm trying to create a hotel, and I don't just make the hotel and never clean it. I got to go back in there and address it and make sure it's not been wrecked with trees falling down or whatever.
I like to find those areas too. Like
I'm gonna do that, basal management.
Oh yeah,
that's the way
it's
to
a
do
no-brainer.
it. Yeah.
I like to find those areas too where maybe I have like at least good sign of whether it's black raspberry or blackberry or greenbrier or whatever. Like you see it in pockets like already existing. You know the fact that when you open up that canopy, that stuff's gonna it's gonna explode into that area.
It could double in size
exactly.
in some instances.
So that's where I tried.
And all of a sudden, it's like,
I try to find those spots because that to me, deer are already utilizing those spots. It's where you'll see rubs and beds and stuff around there, especially if you've got acorns or any mass. But if you can find those pockets that already have that existing and showing that that's in the seed bed, and you can really develop those spots. Versus in a lot of cases, you walk up to an area and it's just nothing, like a void of life essentially. I don't know what's going to come up. You're going to get some natives come up. You're going to get some oak seedlings come up and stuff. But who knows what else is in that seed bed that you're going to start to see pop and run.
In my part of the world, it's like if you see those little pockets of native grasses, it's like, oh man,
let it blow.
Oh man, let's open it up. I'm already seeing the sign. I'm already seeing beds and rubs. You're like, okay, I know they like this area. Let's add the structure that I know they like now. And that's when it's just like, oh, it's 100 yards from my food plot. It's like you can set in that in a tree stand or blind on that food plot and just like watch a deer come into it, and you're like, that I know he came straight from that bedding area. And so then the goal is, okay, in the mornings I want to get on the downwind side of that bedding area if I can. And now I can hunt that food plot without ever going into it in the mornings.
Adam, what do you think is like turning away from timber just a little bit, like this will not be as relevant to like some of the areas where Jeremy's farms are at, but more like more farm country. Like I imagine maybe your family farm had some of this, just old cattle pasture, old fescue fields, old fallow fields. My farm has quite a bit of that. Is there a general prescription where you say, hey, most of the open acreage that's not going to be converted into some sort of a food source? What's the prescription for that?
If we're taking old cattle pasture that still has the fescue base, and then it's got the woody encroachment of cedar and let's say it's Iowa or Illinois and it's shingle oak. I mean, and there's some plums trying to creep in and some native grass trying to fight its way through.
That stuff is even great. I would kill for some of that. Mine's pretty much like, cool season grass.
Straight.
Yeah.
Okay. If that's the case, then I may go into, depending on the goal, say I want this to be old field is what we call it. It's old field management. So I want to spray the fescue or smooth brome, depending on where you're at. Could be ryegrass. I'm going to spray that out. I'm going to try to burn if regulations allow it to go ahead and really give a boost shot to that seed bed. And then I'm going to look and see what else is missing, because if the goal is bedding, we'll just go down that trail. If the goal is bedding, then, what are the things that make good bedding area? And I'm always like, some guys will say, well, it's switchgrass. Other guys will say, well, it's cedar. And other guys will say, well, I like briars or I like shrubs. And I'm like, I like all of the above. So remove the fescue. If I have to add shrubs, if I have to add trees, I'll do that. And then the goal is to keep it in that managed state where it's not turning into a cedar thicket.
So check this out. This will be like a cool, way to play this out. So I kind of did that. So I took, I don't know what it was, 10, 15, 20 acres, maybe, like a fair amount of acres that I did this on. And we did essentially that. The first thing I did was we sprayed it for cool season grasses in October, November, once, essentially everything
Frost.
Everything we felt like was dormant or whatever. We sprayed it, killed it, burned it off in March, April. And
just let it go then, right?
And some of it, we even went in with a disc then and turned it over. And
great.
To my surprise and demise, over the 2, 3, 4 years now that we've done it, I want to say in year one we had a burst of like
been like goldenrod
annual,
and stuff,
tall stuff, and
ragweed, goldenrod,
and then
old field aster,
and then in the years following, so like year 2, 3, it just all reverted back to like the cool season just took back over.
Yeah.
And that's where
you'll
we're
see
at.
that in cases where it could be, it was dominated in that for so many years.
Mm-hmm.
So just do it again.
Same,
Just do that
same
over.
thing.
Same thing. Spray it, burn it.
Here's one thing I would think I would do maybe differently is like, what do you think about burning it like first, like right now, essentially you would burn it or in the next month or so, and then spraying it like in March, April?
Yeah, good question. And that was something I learned in just doing it. But what I see happening when you burn it first and then return to spray it, because the goal is there's too much thatch, there's too much other stuff. I really want to get good contact with that fescue.
Yeah.
Well, what I see happening is you burn it, and so you have all that exposed soil. And this is my hypothesis, is that the soil's warming up a little quicker than it normally would. So you get a lot more native forbs or native plants growing quicker than they normally would, specifically like goldenrod and ragweed. And so then you go into spray, and you're killing a good portion of natives.
Interesting.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So don't do that.
We it was kind of one of those, let's burn it. There's too much thatch. And then you go in and spray, and you're like, whoop, shut it off. What is all this? This is not just fescue. This is pretty much everything we want that's up 2-3 inches tall as well.
Yeah.
And
I'm glad we talked about that because there's a CRP field that we have in Illinois that we sprayed last year. Like that was the first thing that we did.
Yep. In March.
We sprayed it in like late March, early April. I actually had a co-op go in and do it because it's a big, like, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
30
acre field. And dude, night and day difference. I'm talking from like last year to this past year in terms of like what we saw out of the native grass species. Night and day was amazing.
Crazy. I have a client that bought a farm in Illinois, and he bought it from an old farmer who just kind of, it's CRP, didn't ever address the cool season. It was just chocked full of cheatgrass and fescue. And it was kind of like you could see some grasses trying to get their way through. You saw a lot of goldenrod, and it was like, man, and he hired a co-op, they sprayed it, then he burned it. And it's like, it's not even the same field.
No.
Like, it was just right there, and it just exploded.
Yep. Yeah, just being suppressed.
It's wonderful.
That's all it is.
Well, I think we're going to do the same thing again. I guess we're just going to have them go spray it again this year, kind of same thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole field. We only did that. We had that back part that we didn't spray that we
missed that section
as like the comparison, and it for sure was not as good.
So to make sure I put a bow kind of on that question about what to do with old field management is like the goal is what, Adam? Is to get it regenerated with what's already in the native seed bed, or are you talking about doing plantings and stuff too?
Hopefully it's what's in the seed bed comes up. Goldenrod, ragweed, partridge pea, Illinois bundleflower, depending on where you're at. It's briars, blackberry like briars.
And that will eventually be something that has structure and can hold deer, or what is the end goal with that?
The native grasses and the shrubs and the briars are the structure. The encroachment of a cedar tree is the structure. But the forbs, the ragweed and the goldenrod, old field aster, I'm trying to think of the more common ones you're going to see. Those aren't really, yes, they're structure, but halfway through the December, a lot of them are falling down.
Yeah.
And that's why it's like, people will be like, well, my old fields are my bedding area. It's like, on a scale of 1 to 10, yeah, they're better than a field of fescue, but they're not as good as they could be.
Right.
So like old field to me is, on my farm, old field is, I want to supplement my growing season food plots, and I want to provide a lot of forage before soybeans are growing in the food plots, before a lot of the other, stuff that I want them to forage on is growing. The old fields are going to be producing forage a lot earlier than most crop fields. So they're going to be there. But come November, December, they're not really going to be bedding in it unless there's a pack, like a dotted cedar or a clump of switchgrass and some shrubs mixed in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, is that a route that you kind of go with that? Because, I mean, dude, in my case, like, there's enough of it that I'm like, these deer are fine pre-growing. Like March.
Well, we've talked about bringing like tree tops out there.
Yeah, I was going to ask what you thought about
dragging
dragging tops out there.
We do that all the time. Where it's like, hey, this area right here is wide open. It's mostly grass and forest, which is great, native grass and forest. But it could be so much more. If I want the occasional bed, if I'm in an area that quail, drag some treetops, throw some shrubs in that treetop to protect them while they're young, and let them go crazy.
Yep.
What kind of shrubs? Like,
depends on what native. In your part of the world, we may be looking at nannyberry and one of the viburnums, plums, dogwoods. Red osier is just like the.
I've heard about it a lot. Yeah, I've never planted one.
Yeah, yeah, and we don't have it around here. So our shrub is American plum or some form of sumac. So
cool.
All great. Just depends on the area. I wouldn't try to bring red osier in here. I'm not sure it could really do well, but yeah, the old field is, the research that Dr. Craig Harper did was like 3,000 pounds per acre per year, but with fire, it's like 3,500.
That's what we went on, Adam. He said, just let it grow.
Just let it grow.
Just let it grow. Remove the fescue and see what comes in. And your best, Craig Harper. If we don't like it, kill it again.
Well, I mean, the hard part at looking at some of those, and we've all driven by them, we've talked about it before, is like I classify them as like rabbit fields, right? Where you look through and it's an old farm, it's been abandoned for decades, right? And it's just briars and nasty and cover and like it's just a deer mecca in there. And eventually it'll age out of that, right? But for that time period of whatever, 5 to 7 years, it becomes just the perfect habitat from a browse and bedding opportunity. But
absolutely.
But the time
and to keep it in that state is the fire or
just kill it again.
Chainsaw.
Yeah, it's exactly.
Where you're like, I burned it. Oh, the cedars are getting this little patch of 12 cedars. There's 4 of them that are over 15 foot tall. I'm going to go ahead and cut those down.
Cut them down.
And we're just going to bring the ceiling back down. And I get asked this a lot from people with that are like big deer guys, where they're like, "What is Greg Glessinger doing? Like, why is he killing these giants?" And I'm like, I always have to ask, "What do you think? Like, what is your?" And it's usually they think he's feeding. I'm like, no, he's feeding all right, but not in the way you think.
Yeah.
And what you just described, that old field pasture that's got shrubs and cedars and grasses and forbs. The guy has more of that than any farm I've ever seen. When we first worked it was like, oh, this is all smooth brome and fescue everywhere.
Yep.
And so they started spraying and burning. And it's just like it's blowing up in prairie, and there's quail and pheasants everywhere. And it's like that when you add 3,500 pounds across the size of the property he has, it's like that's more food than they can eat during the time of the year when they need it most, starting in March all the way through when antlers are completely hard.
Interesting. So that's like a predominant thing that you're doing with Greg or on Greg's farm is the old field management kind of stuff that we just talked about?
Yeah, big time. And then, of course, the one farm in particular that we could debate, but I just think it's the best farm that it is the best farm I've ever personally worked.
Really?
Just because of
the Iowa one or Missouri?
Iowa, yeah. Just because it's like good neighborhood, great regs, great habitat.
Yeah.
Like very rarely do you run into that. Like you can't replicate that just anywhere.
That's the stars aligning.
Yeah, and then they don't hunt it. It's not like they have 6 guys that try to hunt it. It's like deer have the potential to express it. And I think that the old field management is crucial. And then where he does have woodlots, we've TSI'd it. So it's like, okay, let's just say it's not a young forest of 1,500 pounds. It's more like 700 pounds. You add that on top of crop fields and food plots on top of old fields. It's like every acre has food.
Are you doing any of those bedding cuts in the timber there?
Yeah, we did a ton of bedding cuts on the place. It's like we've done those, and those are 1,500 pounds. Yeah, so it's just like you just start checking the box of.
How long have you been working on that farm, Adam, or how long has he owned it? Where are you kind of at in the management plan?
Yeah, I was just talking to him because we're actually hosting a field day there this year, a workshop, and it was. I walked that farm right before he bought it in 2010. Okay. And then we started consulting on it in 2017.
Yep.
And from 2017 to like 2020, it was just madness. Yeah. Complete flipping on its head. Now he's more in a maintenance mode, just burning, and the TSI's been done. So Yeah, I mean, we're talking. We did one section that was old field management that was like 75 acres that was almost all shagbark hickory regeneration or honey locust, and they just got leveled and then fescue sprayed and burned. So it just went from nothing to tremendous. So
That's awesome.
That's crazy, man. In those spots, like I think, like I've been working on one in Kentucky that this is year 4, I think, season 4 going into it, and like this past year was the first time that I started to look at it, and I'm like, boy, a lot of woody stuff in there, a lot of briars in there. You know, like finally it went from more of that 4B look to now where I'm like, I see the structure, I see the browse.
Yeah.
If anything, I need to drag some treetops in there to give it like more definitive structure than just, you know, straight across type briars and stuff. But it just to what we were talking about earlier, might take 6-7 years to get to that rabbit looking field stage. Now at that point, you have the ability to manage it and set it back and keep it kind of rolling. But you know, for 7 years, you're looking at a field and you're like, am I doing the right thing? Is it doing nothing? Is it spraying, you know, some of the grasses, then doing nothing? Do I put a burn through it? Like, there's a lot that goes into that. And hopefully at the end of 7 years, you have what you're looking for. Otherwise, you know, it's another 5 in front of you.
No doubt. And the shrubs, like where it's like, oh, I did this. I planted the shrubs, but they said I need to burn it. And you're like, I planted the shrubs and they were 3 years old and I torched them.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, yeah. You remember that part of the plan where it said to start an ignition point around the shrubs and soak them down with a wet line? That was the crucial part you missed.
Yeah, you forgot that one.
Yeah.
The HUNTR Podcast is brought to you by Beast Broadhead.
Dude, Beast broadheads. Man, we've been advocating for and shooting expandable, especially big expandable broadheads for years and years now. And it just seems like they just keep making them better and better. And ultimately, with the relationship we've forged with the Beaumarts this past year, we're just super excited to be shooting the Beast broadheads this year.
I mean, this broadhead it's the world's sharpest expandable broadhead out there. It has best penetration, and it's got bone avoiding technology. Ultimately, we want to create the most trauma possible on a deer when we release an arrow. The Beast Broadhead does that for us every time.
So right now you can use code HUNTR, HUNTR, for a discount on anything on the Beast website. So definitely go check out beastbroadheads.com.
Jeremy?
Yes, sir.
Is your wife glad to be out of MDC?
Very much so.
What do you think they're going to do? Do you think... I have a consult coming up with an ex-commissioner.
Yeah.
And he's like down in the dumps because of what they did with no more culling.
Yep.
And it seemed he's like, I don't even know if there's a point in managing for deer in 5 years. It's like, oh geez, buddy.
Yeah. No, I think that they'll it'll be the two things that'll be really interesting is, do they still test at the same levels that they did before? Because without testing, none of us are going to know if prevalence rates are higher or...
Yeah.
We'll have no idea, right? We'll have no idea. No. I think the biggest thing, the biggest challenge that they've got ahead of them, and it's not for all parts of the state, but for a lot of it, is what are they going to do with this antlerless population issue, right? You know, Jason told us pretty openly that they were trying to get ready to pass a bounty, which...
Yeah.
I think's insane. Like the moment you put a bounty on does like you do coyotes or something, they become a varmint, you know, and the appreciation and everything for that animal just declines rapidly.
Every high school boy is going to be riding the roads.
That's it. Yeah. Jacking them out of trucks.
No respect.
Nope.
Gut shoot them, kill them however you can.
Yeah. Just mow them down. And yeah. So that's not the right way to go. You know, we've had earn a buck discussions and things like that too. And, you know, I think that and I'm not sure why, they seem very disconnected with what deer hunters in Missouri are actually doing. Like
No.
Jason's still extremely adamant that of the 500,000 plus deer hunters, like 80% of them are just purely gun hunters. And I don't think that's true at all.
No.
Yeah.
There's a group in my opinion, born and raised here and working with clients all over, and I have some clients that are very intertwined, and it's like there's a group within MDC where it's like, dude, it's not 1990 anymore.
No.
Like it wouldn't be hard at all to be an incredible state.
The best state, honestly.
It would be the best.
Yes.
And it's like, but NBC's like, no, it's it's the heritage of gun season. It's like, I get that, but you guys are missing the point. And the same thing with opening turkey season all day. It was like, oh, well, we're losing the 25-year-old and under crowd. And it's like, everywhere.
Everywhere.
They're not doing anything. They're
Everywhere.
not hunting.
No.
It's not turkey hunting. It's deer hunting. It's just
everything.
going outside.
Yeah.
And
We
it's
did.
like,
We just
they're
had the same
playing
thing.
Sports.
Yeah, man. We just had the same thing in Pennsylvania. They wanted to move up gun season 1 week earlier into November, right? So normally we're around December 1st. They basically wanted gun season to be the entire last week of November and then the first week of December. And, the justification was more participation in gun season, particularly from the 18 to 25-year-old crowd, because college kids will be off. Well, first of all, no, most college kids have finals right then, right? So, like, they're not off yet. But, like, they're just not hunting. They're just not hunting anymore. It's not just Pennsylvania. It's everywhere. It doesn't matter where you move that gun season. They're just not doing it.
Exactly. And it's so hard. It's like, for me, my argument has been with MDC, it's like, you want us to shoot does, but yet the time of the year that the most hunters are in the woods is the most difficult time to shoot does. The rut.
It's the rut.
They're hiding in the brush.
Exactly.
But yet you want us to shoot does, and they're not as active. Move it back 2 weeks and see how many does we kill.
Well, and I told him and I've begged the Pennsylvania Game Commission to do the same thing, but I told Jason, I said, what I would do if I were MDC is I'd back that season up, right? Even just back it up a week and a half or whatever, or a week, right? And then at the tail end, so essentially the last weekend of the gun season, whatever that would be, I would end the concurrent buck doe season on Friday, and Saturday and Sunday would be antlerless only. There would be no overlap of archery season for bucks. There would be no buck hunting for that weekend.
Is there an exclusive doe season in Missouri?
They have some antlerless season.
We have one in October.
Yeah, in October.
A gun season October.
But nobody wants to do that because it overlaps bow season when they're out hunting bucks.
Yes.
Well, so it's not.
And why would you go in and bang away and put pressure?
Exactly.
What we do is we go to our boundaries.
Yeah.
We go to our worst neighbors and we freaking hammer
No,
those.
so to your point, there is no. There might be one in January. Is there one in January still? Well, that
so
is
when you say exclusive, there's always bow
archery season.
Yeah,
over
so
top.
that's no good.
So there you go. So I'm talking an exclusive Saturday, Sunday, no archery season.
Yeah, every state should have that.
Gun season,
an exclusive
antlerless
only
And you know
season.
what, dude? People would have fun. We used to have it for 3 days after. We would have a 2-week buck only gun season, and then the Monday after for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday would be doe only. And dude, we killed 300,000 does in 3 days in Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
and you had fun doing it because nobody cared about pushing the buck over to the neighbor or doing this or doing that. All you were out there was just the first group of does that came through. You just mowed them.
Mm-hmm.
And it was great. And it was in the time frame that because October, the other thing that's tough with October is it could be hot, man. If it's 80 degrees, I don't want to kill does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
no doubt.
that's what I told him to do. And he was like, I just don't, we don't want to really break up the seasons and stuff. And I'm like, anytime a guy has an opportunity to kill a buck and he still has a buck tag, he's not shooting a doe.
Imagine how great every state would be if they just got rid of the gun season and replaced it with an antlerless only gun season.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
every state would be amazing.
What would happen? I mean, obviously the heritage would break it, but like, what would happen in a state where if you're like, hey, listen, you can still buck hunt, but this year gun season is only antlerless, no bucks. I assume people would just shoot the shit out of bucks anyways, but
no doubt, it's illegal to bait, and they still do that anyway.
I know. It's
in some places it's illegal to run dogs, and they still do that anyway. So, an outlaw is going to outlaw. The one thing that I had a client tell me the other day, I'm like, that's a great point. He's like, Adam, we would shoot more does, but I can't eat that many. And I don't want to go to the processor and pay $200 to donate it.
No.
He's like, MDC ought to take some of their CWD money and put it into share the harvest and pay for people to actually turn in deer. I'm like, that's a valid point.
Do they not?
Every guy I talk to is like, I'd shoot
not
30 does, but I don't want to deal with them.
Yeah, well, right. But most states have some sort of a donation program.
Yeah, but they're weak.
Yeah.
Yeah, they typically fill up and pretty quick.
Yeah, they should have like refrigerator trailers set up at different parts of the state that I could just go and drop them off.
Was that you, Adam? We talked about last year that Schwann had just gone out of business. We said they should buy all the Schwann trucks.
No, that wasn't.
Who was that? I do remember our conversation there.
I don't remember.
But that was, they had just gone out of business, and we were like, we should just buy all those and make
all
them
the
go
Schwann
around.
trucks. Yeah, mobile
deer mobile meat wagon.
Well,
mobile meat wagon.
The two big ones that I would say are like, and call them at odds, but Ohio has one of their correctional facilities. They have prisoners butchering deer for the public, and it's like been pretty successful. Mm-hmm. Now it's one location, so but that's where
there's a razor blade in mine.
Yeah, exactly. Is this cocaine? Yeah, that was Keister's stash before. But on the other one I sent to Jared last night is there's a House bill in Illinois that basically wants to award residents of Illinois who are on SNAP, so food assistance, a free deer tag to go kill deer.
Are we? So what's the thought?
I mean,
how do we feel about that?
That sounds great, but where are they going to do it?
Sure.
Yeah.
What do you think? I mean, I know you sent that as if, or somebody else sent it to us as if like this is getting out of hand.
I sent it as a joke of like just like some rich legislator basically saying, so if we get the poor people to kill all the deer that we hit with vehicles, problem solved.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I thought it was. Yeah. But like, I mean, first of all, I would look at
what do they give them, Jeremy? Is it a gun tag? Is it
any archery or gun? Okay. They just get a free deer license basically.
Okay. And it's already. What does it cost for a resident? And it's got to be pretty cheap, right?
Yeah, $30 probably.
Okay,
so $25 or $30.
Yeah. I on one hand, I'm in favor. I'm like, that is a good thing. Like,
first of all, they've got nowhere to go.
Sure, there's public land. You can go and shoot a doe on public land. If that's really what's happening.
Hunting. It's not just like, what are you going to do? Drive 2 hours south and hunt the national forest?
Yeah. Well, see, that's where I was going to go.
That is true. Like, if you can't afford a deer tag, you probably can't afford gas to drive to the public land.
Lay over the map of where is SNAP benefits in the state of Illinois. It's Chicago.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Like.
Yep.
That's so where are all these people? I think they're just going to be in like city parks, just jugging them, like just cutting jugulars.
And that's what they want.
Maybe that's it. Maybe to kill all the urban deer. Gangs going after deer in like city parks could be a thing.
Interesting. What if they said this tag is limited to?
Yeah, what if they like a reality TV show.
Yeah.
What if they said this tag is limited to its city limits and it's limited to hands-only equipment? No projectiles.
I would watch that in a heartbeat. Yeah. It looked like Anchorman coming through the alleys and stuff, just with
Brick
baseball bats. Yeah. Yeah, Brick's got a trident. He's just like stabbing deer.
I would love to see that. Gangs of Chicago just freaking bucks piled up.
So I don't know, but that's like those are the things like you see that coming. Obviously, we talked about before the podcast the Michigan Farm Bureau pushing their baiting, and I'm like, what are we like? First of all of it is in a goal to kill more deer, right? That is the basis. Is like. Kill more deer.
And it's abundantly clear in regards to the baiting that almost every state thinks that corn piles will kill more deer.
Yep.
Meanwhile, in states that have, either added it or taken away, it's like they've proven that it doesn't. If anything, it kills less or it's the same.
Yeah. And it's not like, of all the clients I work with, the ongoing comment is two things. Depending on the state, they can't get enough tags. Mm-hmm. They're like, I fill my tags, and then I've got to go hunt down other people with tags, and that's just a hassle.
Yep.
And then the other one is, like I just told you guys, I want to kill them, but my gosh, I don't want to have to gut and clean all these deer and then give it away. I'd rather just gut it, take it to the processor, and let them take care of it and go find a family that needs it. Mm-hmm. It's like the two main obstacles for guys who have the most passion to do this are roadblocked.
Yeah.
I would say the third that we see, and I would agree with those being the first two. The third is guys don't want to shoot them during buck season. They don't want to like.
Well, that goes back to the antlerless thing. Honestly, even from a permission on hunting, it's like
That's my
If you
situation.
had a 3, 4, 5 day antlerless season, no overlaps, I'd be more willing to let people come on my property and hunt.
100%.
Because if I put them out there and bucks are legal, one walks by, they're probably shooting it, right? Like whether I tell them don't do it or not.
Or they're pushing on
your
neighbors.
Or they're doing the question that you know, up front. You're coming on, don't ask me to shoot a buck. Don't put me in that position.
Yeah, exactly.
I think if they made that legal and it was like, hey, it's a weekend and it's doe only, that would be the one weekend I would invite every old buddy I've ever hunted with and
Why
be like,
not?
hey, we're going to have deer camp.
Well, we do it, Adam. That's the doe fest that we have in Ohio. The only problem is it's there. You can shoot a buck. It's the muzzleloader season or whatever. So we do it and we're successful at killing does, but I do worry about, pushing deer off the property that time.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, where I think a doe only season makes a ton of sense. I think it's one of those mindsets that are like, well, if we don't let them shoot a buck or they can't shoot a buck, like they're not going to be motivated to go out. Like they have to get off of that train. Like the concurrent seasons, look across all of the states, like most states still have a doe problem and you can shoot a buck or doe during gun season. It's just they're going to preference like to a buck. To your point, like once I shoot one and I got it and I get it out of there, odds of me going back out for a doe, no. Not happening.
Yeah.
I'm done. I got my buck. I'm out.
For a lot of reasons, like him not having the motivation or like, it was hard enough to get permission from my wife and get away from the family and go do that. Now I got to do it again because it's I'm obligated to go shoot a doe. Like,
no. Not happening.
Not happening.
Oh, what do you mean obligated? You're talking about in an earner buck situation?
I shot a doe. Now I know I need to go, or I shot a buck. Now I need to go shoot a doe because I don't want to be a guy who just shoots bucks. Like I need to shoot a bird.
From a morality
side. Well, that
speaks
speaks to the point of like you're not gonna just like motivate somebody to do that. If you're gonna legislate something, it has to be a requirement. It has to be put before you have to do an earner buck in that situation. That's the only way.
Well, but I think most state DNRs or MDC or Game Commission or whatever have the authority. Without legislative power to change that season season structure to have a doe only season. Like I don't think that doesn't need to come through legislative law.
I don't understand.
It's a season bag limit structure, which most game agencies have authority to change in their own. What
downfall to that could
there
possibly be?
You know who has a doe only season?
Iowa.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Yeah.
And they kill the shit. They kill the shit out of them.
I know personally that hammers.
Greg Glessinger.
Yeah.
We know.
And crew
crushes them.
It's like okay. Right. Once again.
Yeah.
Who's doing it right?
Yep. And he doesn't feel any pressure when he's inviting people out for the season because it's like, you guys are just out there killing does. Just don't try not to kill a button buck.
Or a shed buck. That's the biggest pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that is a later season, right?
Yeah, it's in January. And of course, Iowa, brutally cold.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a great example that they have it. I think I want to say Kansas also has a doe-only season.
Do they?
But I would assume, I think there's probably an archery season that overlaps it, would be my guess.
Okay.
I think so. I think it's right before the season goes out in December is a doe-only season. So, but I mean, it's a huge part. Again, it was the thought process, like in Pennsylvania got rid of it because they're like, well, we're just going to make buck-doe season concurrent for 2 weeks. Therefore, there will be more time for them to kill does. We kill less does probably now than the 3-day doe season.
If I'm sitting in my tree stand with a rifle and it's the rut or whenever it is, and that's my designated time to be out there, do I want to be dragging a doe out and gutting it? Or do I want to sit in here?
I mean, dude, it's destructive. Like, if you think about the reality of, like, asking guys to shoot doves, like, if I have a 40-acre piece, which is probably the most common, it's like, am I going to really, shoot a deer and potentially ruin this hunt and then go into the woods and, like, drag it out and gut it and, like, create that whole scene when I'm, like, all the season I've got pictures of this nice buck or something and I'm trying, like, of course you're not going to do that.
No.
I mean, I wonder if it's possible if you look back because I mean, there obviously, like I said, Pennsylvania had one where it was buck only for gun and then doe, and I'm sure other states have too. But as more and more of these concurrent seasons kind of happened, and especially with the migration to more posted properties and definitive borders and stuff, like I would assume that probably displaced to what you were just saying about, hey, protecting my 40 or whatever. I'm sure that displaced a lot of people who had permission hunting capabilities, whether it was with a buddy or family or whoever, to, go from, hey, this was buck only, or we're only hunting bucks. Now we're going to shoot does. Like, great, put 4 guys in every corner, basically. To now it's like with all the concurrent seasons, it's like, hey, listen, I can't do the doe hunting like we used to do.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it's a real challenge.
Adam, what do you get like kind of a sense? I mean, obviously you're not like running from state to state asking about like their politics or rules and regs, but it has to come up organically in conversation. I mean, are there any that stand out that you have a sense for, like, hey, so-and-so made a change that's like for the better, or some that seem to be trending for the worse? I mean, does anything stand out in recent conversation?
Some Northeast, like PA or PA, where it was like fire, a little bit more open to using fire.
Oh yeah.
I think Kip Adams probably had a lot to do with that to make that happen.
He pushed that a lot.
And so that was one where it's like, I didn't expect that, in a world where it feels like we're getting handcuffed more and more with things. It was, that was a breath of fresh air.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As far as regs go, Oklahoma kind of shocked me with their increase in tag prices. And I mean, it's like over $700 now per tag. So it's like, I want to kill 2 bucks, but it's going to cost me $1,400 plus.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Is that just a non-resident price increase or res?
Yeah, non-resident. Mm-hmm.
Ohio did that recently too. Last year they increased doubled their license.
From like $240 to $400 now.
Yeah.
So I wonder what that's going to do to Oklahoma. Like, there were already pretty good trends happening in Oklahoma with age class harvesting. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, wow, that's going to be interesting. And in Oklahoma's probably my number 1 state. And I laugh because I'm like, yeah, that's still not that of all the problems Oklahoma has, that's not the biggest. I mean, the biggest would probably be, I hate, this is a whole can of worms, so I'll mention it and we can go, okay, move on. But it's roaming dogs. I bet you 80% of the properties I work in Oklahoma, there's dogs running all over it.
Really?
Or at some point during the fall, they're running through it.
Yeah, welcome to my life.
Yeah. Well, I'm surprised to hear you say that's Oklahoma. Like, I thought that was everywhere.
That's my Kentucky properties. That's my Ohio properties. That's our Illinois properties.
I've never had a farm that doesn't have dogs running on it.
That's crazy. I'd take 12 coyotes over 2 dogs.
Oh yeah.
Big time.
Interesting. Yeah. So what's the problem? They're just like farmers' dogs. They're just like, that's the culture out there.
Yeah, just the culture.
Yeah.
There's a house and they have 3 dogs and they just let them
lay
in the yard and roam.
See that in most of the poor areas.
Yeah.
Like that. Exactly. That's where my farms are at. They're in poor areas, and so.
That's where big deer are at. It's poor areas.
I don't know. I think the dogs maybe.
You don't think the dogs or the deer adjust to that? Like if it's everywhere?
No. I don't think they adjust to the dogs. I do think, to your point on the coyotes, not that I want 12 coyotes, but like I had a picture the other day in 2-acre field. There was literally 40 or 50 turkeys in the back, and there were 2 coyotes up front just running. And there's coyotes left, and the turkeys just worked their way up to where they were. Like they just.
Yeah.
They know how that works. Those dogs are just, number one, they're extremely vocal. Like, I mean, think about a dog sees a deer and it's just going to start barking its face off. And they just cover, I think they just cover a lot more.
I think they're more intentional about chasing deer than coyotes are. I think coyotes just kind of like they're not going to burn their energy chasing an adult deer that they've got no.
Exactly. A coyote's always about survival. Like, what's the risk reward here? And a dog's like, run till I'm slobbery in the face and go home and eat a bowl of dog food.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Yeah.
We had over the last 3 years, I've had a handful of dogs show up on me in the spring, and it was always like just kind of random. And then this past spring, brother heard them, and they actually had a 3.5-year-old buck pinned up against the creek bank. And it's like, get out of here. And hopefully this dog survives, or this deer survives. But it's like, where are these things coming from?
Yeah.
And it's like, how many deer have I had vanish in the spring over the last couple of years? Oh, there's been a couple of bucks.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what happened?
Yeah.
So,
Dude, in Illinois, we had quite a bit of that, like early on. And it was just like, boy, it was happening. And we were able to tell pretty quickly whose they were and stuff. And we went and talked to her about it. And she honestly was like super cool. Like, I got to give her like some.
They were there yesterday, though.
Some credit on that. They were on the 80 for the first time.
I know.
I saw that. So, and yeah, it's not like, you know, the dogs still exist, right? So, I mean, there's potential for problems, but she's done I think, very fantastic job compared to what we saw initially. And I was like, this seems like it's severely impacting and stuff. She really made an effort. And I'm glad that we handled it the way that we did, because we access one of our properties now on permission from her. And so had I just like told her I was going to shoot her dogs on the first, you know, visit, that conversation would not have gone as well. So.
No.
Yeah, no, it's just one of those problems, like the intermingling of urbanization and trying to manage, where it's just like it probably happens way more than we realize or that we would dare talk about. I mean, it's like one of those things that you can't hardly manage for it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and what do you get? You know, we talked about this before. It's like, what are you gonna do? Like, I mean, dog's just doing its thing. Like, it's not its fault. You know, you just gonna shoot them.
Are they collared dogs in Oklahoma?
Probably not.
No, not really.
Yeah,
I had
farm dogs.
I had one client that had a driving the property 2-track. You know, drives the UTV on the same 2 tracks, and the one side of the tire track was like smooth. And it was like, that just looks weird. What is this? And you get out and you look and it's just smooth. And it's like, we ended up going around and I'm like, why is this? And he goes, that's dogs. I was like, what do you mean? He goes, no, there's a whole pack of dogs that they run through every day because the lady over here feeds them and they all live north of me. And so they just roam through the property every day.
Huh.
Yeah, that's
It's
not
just
good.
maddening.
Need a like one of those hog traps. Like put a carcass out with a.
When I trap in Kentucky, I always have to tell Harlan, I'm like, hey, good chance we're gonna catch a dog in one of these, like just to brace himself on that.
He's like, I thought that's what we were trapping for.
We might be.
We've heard some interesting solutions for that. But Bomar said, like, if they're collared and he knows who they are, he'll take them to an out of state, like
at least a county or two over.
Yeah, which I thought was interesting. There was somebody else, I can't remember who that was.
It was Pat Reeve.
He was like, "Oh, I shoot him. I shoot them all.
Pat shoots him on site.
I shoot all of them."
Yeah, yeah.
But apparently, I looked into it. Like, it's legal where he's at.
There's different. I know in Kentucky
because he said it so openly. I was like, "Oh, I don't know if you can say that."
I looked at it in Kentucky because I'm like, you know, and even the neighbor who it's his daughter's dogs, he's like, "Hey, do what you got to do." And I'm like, "I don't want to kill dogs. If you have livestock, you can kill them on site."
Yeah.
So if there were cows on my place, not even messing around. Boom, done.
Yeah.
Gone.
Yeah.
Just. Yeah.
Pat was like, "Oh yeah, we shoot everyone we see." I was like, "Oh my god!"
Like, are we talking about wolves here? He's like,
yeah, right. Sure.
Dogs, canines.
Yeah.
So, but I think that's I think it has a big impact on a lot of that property, and you could tell too. Like, I know on mine, when they're not on there, like there'll be a lag there, you know, in the summertime especially because it's just hot. Dogs don't want to be running around all over the place when it's 90 degrees out. Those deer are a lot more comfortable on my property versus like right now or in the spring or in the fall when they come on there, like, I don't like it.
Yeah.
No doubt. I have one client that every year he just gets bombarded with dogs. He's like, and he's got alfalfa on his farm now. So it's like summertime pictures. He's like pumped up, man, there's some big deer on the place. And we roll right into September and it's just, they're still coming. It's like, okay, season opens in 8 days. And I mean, it's like clockwork. September 15th, and all of a sudden deer stop moving. And all of a sudden it's just 6 dogs running through the place.
Wow.
It's like, and that's been 5 years of that, which is like, what can you do?
That sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you gotta, at some point those dogs die and hopefully not new dogs replace them is what it comes down to, or neighbors change or whatever it might be. Like,
no doubt.
Yeah.
I had a neighbor that had a bunch of dogs, and she had a bunch of them whistling geese or whatever they're called, and she moved recently. So we'll go into this next fall with
much brighter future.
You hear that? You don't hear geese and dogs and goats and sheep and chickens.
Nothing.
Interesting.
It's just quiet.
We have some of that too. They're like beagle. I don't know what they are, puppy mills or something, but like we hear a bunch of dogs in Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
They don't roam, but you hear them. They're all when it's feeding time.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
These roamed. Even the goats roamed. I would have trail cam pictures of a herd of goats moving through the food plots. We're like, oh, my gosh.
Interesting.
No bueno.
Yeah, crazy.
Well, Adam, before we let you go, tell us a little bit about this new division that you guys have going over there.
Yeah. And this kind of goes with, so it's wealth strategies and wealth management. And ultimately it comes down to owning farms is something that pretty much everyone listening to your guys' show, listen to us, follow us, is like, we love owning land. But, you know, appropriate, instead of just dumping cash into it, there's surely a better way. And Matt and I both owning farms, it was like, man, there's got to be a better way to strategize, not only just tax strategy, but an overall plan of going, okay, where's income that could be made? How do we manage that? How do we even use our other business to incorporate that? And it's like, we ended up running into some guys, meeting some guys that then led us to another guy. And it was like, hey, this is what we need to do. Like, you're helping us strategize and make this farm ultimately a business. And, you know, this is setting us up to where we can own more farms in the future. And so we kind of just worked with them, and they're the experts in the strategy side, but Matt and I, with our years of strategizing income production on farms, it's like putting those two together to where it's like, this is really something that we should offer to clients. And so, yeah, we launched it this year, and it's I think it'll be very beneficial for a lot of people.
So how does that work out, Adam? Is that something that they access through hiring you as a consultant, or is that like a standalone service that people can tap into?
It's a standalone service that ultimately we're kind of tied in with this other group of people, and we do a kind of an introduction to understand the farm, understand that person's business, and how they can be incorporated. And ultimately, we're just talking about a business plan for the farm. And that includes tax strategy, but financial strategy, and even, you know, help us if something happens. But it's like the same thing for my farm. Like, I want my kids to own this one day, but if I were to croak out, what is my wife going to do with it if there is no plan in place? Like, where's the income? What's that? So it's like laying this all out where it's like, this is something that can be the legacy part of owning land and passing that down.
Well, dude, even like in the meantime, like while you're alive and, you know, operating, you know, the farm and the properties or whatever they are, it's like, dude, cash flowing that thing is like a huge learning curve. Like even the stuff we were talking about earlier, it's like, you know, hey, there's federally funded dollars I can tap into. There's assets like timber and, you know, crop leases and stuff that I can do right now. So, okay, what is my revenue or earning potential from a farm? And now how do I offset projects that you're prescribing or that I want to take on like over a time frame? So I think that's a huge value.
You know, just timber alone, it's like if you bought a farm, it's like I can make money on logging. I can make money on cost share. I can make money on carbon credits. I can make money on additional hunting leases. Like a lot of the guys that we work with they're just straight deer hunters. They don't care about turkeys. And it's like, I got a whole list of clients that'll pay you to come and turkey hunt the place.
Yeah.
And they're the same, you know, type of person you are. We're not getting some, you know, Bubba that's going to hunt you and the neighbors. And so it's like, there's all kinds of different potential to make income on a property, and understanding that, and then understanding how to strategize that and make a living asset is, you know, a big part of it. So
that's awesome, man. So is that through the Land and Legacy website that somebody would, start down?
You can go to landandlegacy.tv and see that tab for wealth management services.
Cool.
So.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense, man. And we're all kind of getting to the age whether we've got young families and stuff, but we want to be thinking about, you know, the future. It's like it's hard to find people to kind of understand, you know, our passions, right? It's not just necessarily what's the best investment. It's like, what's the best investment for our lifestyle, our family, our planned future.
It's a big deal to have somebody who actually understands finance too. So, like Jeremy and I have been, very fortunate. We use the same guy who we can mention at some point or whatever. It's not a big deal, but he's been awesome and really proactive with us. Understands, the land management or rather the land investment piece of it, which a lot of your standard advisors they don't. It's more stock portfolio. It's this and that. And so our Nick, our guy who helps us out, is like very much. He's like, hey, if you're going to do this, first of all, I would or I wouldn't, and here's how. Here's where I'd pull this money from. Here's how I would plan or prepare for it. And dude, Jeremy and I really, really appreciate that that guidance. So that's a big deal for us.
No doubt. And he's like, we worked with a handful of CPAs before we ever started working with these guys, and it was like, you want to farm, cool, okay. And it's like, no, I don't think you understand my business. Like you don't understand how owning a farm in this entity is benefiting this entity. And it's like, it's all kind of intertwined, but it was a nightmare that we felt like really needed to be addressed. And over the years, we finally found the people. And so we're just opening the doors for clients of ours to have the same relief in working with the right people.
Cool.
It's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, cool, dude. Well, we appreciate your time. I know it's a busy part of the year, and glad to see you moved into your own place. And man, just really enjoy what you and Matt do, and appreciate you guys. And obviously, I think a lot of our listeners will.
Matt's welcome to come on sometime too.
Yeah, we'll have to rope his ass.
We don't want him
in.
to think we're excluding him, so you guys are both welcome anytime.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe he'll do the next one. But no, I appreciate anytime you guys have me on. It's always fun catching up, and maybe when I can get up to PA sometime, I'll hit you up.
HUNTR Podcast is brought to you by Lone Wolf Custom Gear.
Man, those Lone Wolf stands have become such a cornerstone of our equipment over, recently, but I mean, also we've been using these stands for a long time, even the original Lone Wolves. They're all built right here in the United States. The lines just keep getting better and better. Cody and Andre and the whole team just keep innovating and introducing new stuff into the line this year. And they've got some new things coming this year.
Yeah, so this year we've got the Patriot Series, which, a lot of people are talking about this as being the cheaper, just fixed position side of things. But let's be honest, they can be mobile too, right? They weigh 12 pounds. But they're built from a value standpoint. So for guys like us who want to have 3, 4, 5 preset stands out there for certain winds, we can put this Patriot Series out there, have them ready. Nothing better than slipping up into one of these fixed position stands that's already set on the right wind.
No doubt. And so this year, as of right now, you can use code HUNTR, HUNTR. It's a one-time use promo code. Gets you 10% off anything on the Lone Wolf Custom Gear website. That's any of the custom gear stuff, any of the Patriot Series. So whether you're planning on getting into one for the first time or you want to stack a big order here before the season, code HUNTR will get you 10% off.
Hunt like a wolf. Adam Keith, Land and Legacy.
Yeah, man.
That's good. It's kind of funny. Just when you get on the right wavelength with people, especially around like deer management and property management, it's like we could have sat here and talked for 10 hours.
I like him. I like Adam a lot.
We literally could have just kept talking and just kept rabbit hole.
We did. We just talked here for half an hour after we got.
Yeah.
So I think I got him booked. I'm gonna have him come out to I'm committing. I think at this point to it's what I said. It's like we talked to a lot of consultants, and I'm sure a lot of them have great, awesome, valuable information that I have heeded in the past and will continue to in the future. But dude, I think first of all, I like his. He's very knowledgeable. I think he really knows what he's talking about. I also think that his farm in Missouri is a very close comparable to what we're dealing with in
similar
Ohio.
Size, prior cattle. I think that's not good soils.
Yeah.
I think all of those things check the same box.
So I feel really good about inviting him to come out. And so I'm obviously paying for his service. And, if we can collab on some stuff here for videos and stuff, I think it would be fun to show that to people too. I know our channel maybe in some cases lacks on a video component. If I can leverage Adam's team or, how to showcase some of those projects, then great. So be it.
Yeah. No, I think that
it's all coming together here. I got the equip, I got the forestry, I got the Adam.
The equip thing's interesting. I'm not pissed. It was what it was. It's just it sucked for my Kentucky stuff to kind of go sideways there on my property tax.
Well, dude,
debacle.
don't worry about it. Just still go in and do whatever you would do this year, and then next year enroll in whatever's left.
Yep. Yeah. So it's like I'm not going to get a ton of stuff. I need a crew to do most of my stuff on the timber side, especially.
Yep. Well, that'll help it go a lot faster. Dude, one thing I think is a big takeaway, though, is I really think we should consider fire on the north timber block in Illinois.
Yeah.
From an invasive, like as opposed to.
I got a blower and a torch. Like, let's go.
I don't know if it's you and me doing it. And here's one challenge with that is like we don't have a clean line on the north end, which you're gonna need.
Yeah, but I mean, where's it gonna go? It's
well, nowhere. But we can't burn our
field.
neighbor's timber either, though. Is what I mean.
It's field.
Well, no, there's some timber there.
Oh, you mean like just the little piece that's there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would just call Jim and be like, "Hey, dude, we're gonna run a timber burn through here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, can we take it up to your field?"
Mm-hmm.
Which includes his timber.
Mm-hmm. I mean, either that or you just, you walk.
I'm not too worried about that little piece there, but like it's going to consume some of that timber there.
Either that or I think you start it there because you're going to do and it helps. That's the eastern side. You do a backing flame, and walk it down the hill from east to west and just walk through there and start a line.
Yeah, that's fine. You could do that.
Have to drop a line and then immediately blow it.
I could blow it right out.
Yeah, that's how you would do it.
Yeah, that'd be fine. You could do that easily too. Yep. This timber burns.
We're going to be there too early to do like in March. Like he's talking about doing it after the multiflora is leafed out.
Yeah. Yeah. So we would have to come back in early spring and do it.
April.
Mm-hmm. Which might be when we're prepping stuff anyways for beans and whatnot.
Okay.
So.
And you know what? Maybe we'll have a machine there in March. Maybe you consider having somebody put a line in on the north end.
Make a trail.
Fire brick.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah, we could do that.
Just a thought.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think that'd be fine.
Cool.
I think that'd work.
All kinds of potential, man.
Yeah, I'm kind of eager to light a fire. I'm just trying to figure out where I'm going to do my first, test one. Just to, let it roll.
You got it? You got all the stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Got your drip torch? Got your...
Oh, yeah.
Don't do it alone, man. You got somebody that can run a leaf blower for you while you're doing it?
No. Just me.
You should get... Where are you talking about? Kentucky farm?
Yeah, I can't do it till later. See,
Timber?
that's the thing. I'm not nearly as concerned about when I do mine in April or May because it's so much green.
Yeah.
It still can get away from you. Don't be stupid.
Timber burn you're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Brakes are the main thing. What's
I'm
that?
going to use my fields for brakes. There's nothing in them. It's just crop residue.
Yeah.
They're not going to.
Yeah. That'll work.
And I could drop a disc and obviously work that as a more defined edge for sure. Yeah, there's just a few benches that I'm gonna do. Some of the areas that per what we were just even talking with Adam, that I want to do some more aggressive bedding cuts in. I want to burn before I bring trees down.
Yeah, dude, go find somewhere, section off a small section with your leaf blower where you can I want to burn this quarter acre section and just see how the material burns. Because then once you get into it, you're like, okay, I can see. Deer freaking can get away from you fast. It's nothing to mess with.
Yeah. Yes, I agree. I'm not as concerned about timber burns as I am field burns and stuff.
I've never done a timber burn. That's why I'm
been involved in a few. Honestly, most of the ones I've been involved with were down south though, and pines. And frankly, I think that probably burns more than
for sure does.
Wet leaf litter
for sure
type
does.
Stuff.
Yep.
Just dry pine needles and whatnot.
Sap.
Yeah. So I've done several of those when I was in Mississippi. But I haven't done. I might have done one or two in hardwoods actually. Now that I take that back. Yeah, I think I did do 2 in hardwoods, but yeah, I'm just gonna literally make it a rectangle or donut and have it completely clear. Can't go. What, like you said, watch it go.
Yep.
See what happens.
Yep.
Okay, great. Understand it. Make sure your conditions are right.
I'd consider even on some of those knobs that I've clear cut before, going in and leaf blowing out just a perimeter and then burning it, and then going in and managing the invasive. I've never heard it described that way, where fire can be used basically in lieu of like a mulcher for the purpose of
top kill.
Getting access to the multiflora kind of a thing. So I do like that. I also think after talking to him, I'm encouraged that my stuff is not that out of control. Maybe there's some pockets where it's it's pretty dense.
I don't think it's that bad.
But a lot of it, I think I can just go in the next couple of months and
diesel cocktail,
do the basal treatment. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's how I would look at it. I've got some areas too that I could treat, but I'm I don't know. I'm not too worried about it. Obviously, do it before it gets out of control if you can. But Yeah, I think it's just, that's what I said. It's just, to that 80%, 80-20 rule, it's like find some small wins. Like if you burn an area, you drop a bunch of trees, you come back.
For sure.
Even if you come back later in the summer, if you do that in March to May, you come back in August or September, there'll be new growth coming up. It'll be like, boy, something's brewing here. Mm-hmm. That's all you need for a little win, to know that you did something right, and then move on to the next one. You replicate that 7 or 8 times across a property, and like you'll have some really nice little bedding areas. And then I think the big point for people to understand is, like, because we talk about TSI a lot, we throw that out there. I thought Adam did a good job describing that, is like TSI is a necessary evil from a creating better quality browse, as well as just creating better quality timber for hopefully eventual investment or harvest. But like those areas, like your entire TSI wood shouldn't be bedding area. Like it should have the ability to hold deer and feed deer, but that's not you don't want them just bedding in 30 acres.
Right.
And honestly, I'm a bit in that situation in Ohio right now.
I'm definitely in that situation.
After an aggressive select cut on the whole property, right? Is like, it's all like it all is good habitat, but it's all monoculture good habitat. There's no reason for him to bed here versus here, except for terrain and or wind direction.
Well, and that's what they'll do.
Yep. But that's where you've got to then focus in on those areas and continue to make them better for bedding.
Yeah. Well, and so what that means to me is just being strategic about areas that you don't cut.
Yep.
Basically creating edge within your timber, around,
whether that's for access,
stand locations,
or for dead space or whatever.
Yep. And so like in my mind, I've got several areas where I'm like, okay, this works well from a topographical standpoint. I can improve it even further by, cutting up to an edge. You know what I mean? I'm not going to cut through where my lanes and stuff are at. I'm going to cut up to create an edge that's like 30, 40 yards away from that stand. So when it grows up, it thickens up, the deer are going to use it in a way that I've now created a funnel of open timber.
Yep. Well, I think that's it. It's not it's not rocket science. Like you just have to get out there and do it. And like I said, the easiest part with those kind of things is you'll see not immediate results, but within the first year or two, you'll see the results start to pay off, right? Versus like a timber stand improvement, which is a longer term, improvement over time. So yeah, I thought his comments around, depending on what your terrain looks like, that 2/3 in the way up, and especially west and south slopes, focusing on those, that at least gives you a starting point. So if you're like me and I've got 200 acres of timber and I'm like, I don't even know what to do here. It's like, okay, identify all the west and south slopes and start to look at where those are and relative to where you're hunting or where food is. And now you can find the ones that are like hotbeds of like, great, this one. Like if I work on those, they're immediately going to have successful impacts on where I'm hunting.
And that's because of sunlight, right?
Yep, sunlight. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I wonder why like west and not east.
Just because of time of day, and again, even from the temperature side of things, as you get cooler mornings and stuff, like there's a soil temperature factor that you're playing off of on that west and south.
Makes sense.
Yeah, from a native side at least.
Makes sense.
They're now given like there are specific natives that like will live and reside on east and north slopes. Not saying that you're like really promoting them, but like I think hemlocks for one. It's usually in low-lying areas, but it's also in north and east because they want shade, they want cooler temperatures. That's the soils they thrive in.
Moss.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right. And versus like your oaks and stuff that are going to be more prevalent on west and south for sunlight. Yeah. And temperature warmth. So, yeah, that's it.
Cool.
Pretty easy.
Makes me want to go get on a chainsaw. Go do some work.
Got to check my inventory of chains here. So before I go down to Kentucky, so I'm ready to rip. Although it's kind of like chicken and egg, I technically want to burn before I cut too much. So I don't want to put all that on the ground.
Yeah, burn first.
Yep. So, but we're early on that. So we'll see. We shall see.
Hence is the challenge.
Time is the challenge.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, we appreciate everyone tuning in episode 305 with Adam Keith from Land and Legacy. And we will see you all on the next one.
Later.
Take me